Hey everybody, we're back. I'm your host Felipe and Sean. This is the Total Bases podcast. With me as always is Sean Flannery. But before I get to you, Sean, I'd like to introduce our next guest. It's been Guestomania all month long, all winter long, really. And Andrew O'Sullivan, you've heard him mentioned before on this show. Now we have him here live and in person. Andrew, a Mets fan. How you doing today?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Now, Felipe, you have to introduce him how you normally introduce him when we're talking about him in the third person.
He threw me off before the show started. He told me he's not Irish, so now I feel cheated here.
He's O'Sullivan. He works in an Irish bar and he plays the bagpipes. Come on,
he makes a big stink about St. Patrick's Day.
I'm not that.
I'm not that Irish.
Full blood Irish.
All right. Well, it's my favorite. It's everybody's favorite, not just mine, but everybody's favorite Irish Mets fan.
There we
Andrew O'Sullivan. Andrew is part of our Baseball Life Fantasy Baseball League over at Fantrax, and he's it's like any fantasy league I do, Andrew's in it. So he's also in the basketball league, the Life Group Fantasy Basketball League as well, over at CBS Sports.
How have you done in basketball, Andrew?
Not good.
Oh, that's brutal. Basically, like Irish people's success in basketball, which is virtually nothing. So
unless the Celtics, not the Celtics.
Come on, that's a stereotype. Name me one good Irish basketball player aside from that kid from the Disney original movie.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, because you're too old.
Shaquille O'Neal.
You just don't get that one.
He just said Shaquille O'Neal. Oh my God, Sean, you got to let me in on the share screen gimmick there.
Oh God, I said, I'm not the prepared one.
But the reason we have Andrew here is because we will be talking about the rest of the fantasy baseball league. We're doing 27 rounds. I think we had Mario on Sunday. We got to 12 rounds, something along that line. So we're going to do the second half. So let's get going. I just wanted to point out that this is a spreadsheet that I created right before the show. And I look at all these pretty colors. These are, hope everybody appreciates. I did a little bit of team colors. Henry is using his own mug, his own cartoon form for his logo. So I decided to just give him a Puerto Rican flag. See, he's the only
I like the fade and everything.
Yeah, he's the only one who has that. Yeah, and also because it reminds me of his haircut, the fade.
Oh,
so
can we just talk about all the people that we talked about in part one that are now injured? Like your Zach Gallen, like George Springer, like Kirby Yates, who Mario was raving about on Sunday. This is not looking pretty for a lot of these first 12 round picks.
You mentioned yourself, it's mostly pitchers, so I try warning you guys, but like, why would you get Kevin Gausman?
Hey, I didn't pick a starting pitcher to the 5th round. Wait, you can't blame me. Sixto Sanchez is my SP1.
I'm blaming everybody else. Ooh, why would you get Kevin Gausman and Joe Musgroves? Oh, they're trash.
Hey, at least it's only a second until Kevin Gausman messes up his arm.
No, I don't think. Not the big ass ballpark. No way, man. He'll be fine. All right, where do we leave off? We left off
12. So beginning of 13. Well, actually, we got through 12. So yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, you just said that. All right, let's get going. I know the people are anxiously waiting. I tagged everybody else in the league to chime in with their thoughts and defend themselves as we roast them all night long. So let's get started. Justin Turner going to Whelan's team with the first pick in the 13th round, followed by TJ Antone. TJ Antone is somebody you've been mentioning before.
Oh, that one hurt me to my core. He was just one of several guys that go in these later rounds that I have been bragging about on the podcast for so long. And I guess the league mates just got wise to it. They weren't going to let me draft them no matter what. 3 of them in this round alone, Antone, Stalmont, and Canna. 3 guys I love, one of which, Andrew, our guest here, picked himself. So I just need to leave the podcast because everyone's taking my players.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. You know what that means? It's like people are listening to the podcast, so that's a good thing, right? We're here to help you.
In air quotes, Dr. Evil.
Win your league is what we're trying to do here for everybody else, even if it's at our expense. Anthony Santander going to Mike Harvey out of Eastern Washington. Taiwan Walker to Jacob Moses. Greg Holland going to James. Miguel Sano to Mario. Josh Stallman to Leon, who's with us. He's on the Friday night podcast over at the Step Back Ballless Life group. We do have a basketball group here. You guys go join it. And you mentioned Marcana. Let's talk about Marcana since we have a guest here. He has big dinger energy. Marcana, why, Andrew? Why?
Well, he gets on base. That's the A's thing. That's what he does. And there's rumors he's going to be hitting leadoff this year. I was surprised he was still on the board that late, honestly.
We just need to insert the Brad Pitt pointing to Jonah Hill because he gets on base. In this league, we like walks and we like on base percentage, and that factors into our scoring. So great pick, Andrew.
Yeah, that's a good pick this middle of the draft here. Followed by Rhys Hoskins, who's been known to also get on base and take walks. Ramon Laureano. Oh, he goes to my team. Yeah.
You got him again?
I
Do you have just like 100% shares of Ramon Laureano in every single one of your leagues?
No, I don't. I only have 2 leagues, and I guess you're right.
You have 100% shares.
Yeah, so you're right about that. I forgot I had Ramon Laureano in the other league. I don't remember. But anyway, the reason I picked Laureano is because center field was running out. I was running out of center fielders to grab because
I'm just realizing I picked Rhys Hoskins. Oh God.
Oh, I am so sorry. That's right. We're picking together.
No, we can skip past that. That's a non-memorable moment of the draft.
David Peralta goes to Jet Dry. Jake Cronenworth going to Aaron Zook of Earl. So we talked about Jake Cronenworth in the previous podcast yesterday, actually doing the Mardi Gras recap, and we both agreed that the playing time is just so iffy, despite the fact that we like him as a player.
But who he didn't talk about was Eduardo Rodriguez, and I think he was even drafted, and we just skipped right over him.
Yeah, he was. But
if he's healthy, if he's healthy, he's looked really good in spring training. He had the heart issue, even before COVID, and then he got COVID. He could be their SP1. He could be, like I said yesterday, Lance Lynn and Dallas Keuchel could be guys that Chicago relies on to eat a lot of innings. Rodriguez could be the same way. And if he is, then that's awesome, especially if you pick him, this late in the back half of the draft, right in the middle of half of the draft.
Yeah, and I believe that it was Nate Eovaldi who's supposed to be the ace of that team.
He went undrafted, and I'm not sure if anyone's watched him in spring training, but he has looked absolutely nasty.
Yeah, I was thinking
Henry is trying to put some shade on Erod's name. If Eduardo Rodriguez was on the Yankees, you guys would be hyping him up even more than you did Domingo Germán. So,
oh boy. All right, let's skip. I don't want no Mets versus Yankee war. I'm sorry, Andrew. You had something to say there, Andrew?
Well, it was just a lot of the starting pitchers I found in this draft. A lot of them went really early, but there were still really solid options down the line. And I think like Erod going pick 1 round 14, you can't beat that really.
Yeah,
I think that's something Mario mentioned on Sunday as well. Was everyone had it sorted by score. And, Felipe, I guess, said it as well. We'll give him some credit. But we like to give our guests the credit. That way they'll come back and join us and we don't scare them away. But everyone had it sorted by projected 2021 score. And whenever you do that, it's going to be so heavily weighted towards SP that, that's what allowed a lot of these hitters to fall. Chris Bryant, Judge, I'm trying to think of another name who we just saw, but all of those guys. So even to find Eduardo Rodriguez this far down after all those SPs went is pretty impressive.
Henry's saying that Eduardo Rodriguez is worse than Domingo Germán.
No, he's saying he's better.
Oh, I said worse. So let me rephrase that. Domingo Germán is better than Eduardo Rodriguez. Currently, I have Eduardo Rodriguez as my number 60 best starting pitcher. Domingo Germán is number 112. So it's double the pitcher that Germán is. I do like his name, though. He's my favorite baseball name. It's Sunday German. Domingo Germán.
Sunday German.
Oscar Hernandez. You know what Oscar means, right, Sean?
Yes. I
have
no clue.
It's Oscar T.
Oh, Oscar T. That's nice.
There is T in Spanish, and Oscar is just Oscar, right? Oscar T. Hernandez going to Jets team. This guy went late.
I'm trying to find out if he went before Gurriel Jr., because those were the two that I wanted to talk about in terms of hitters that fell way too far. And I want to get Andrew's opinion on this.
Oops, that's Yuli Gurriel. Lourdes went in the 16th round.
Yeah, I actually took Lourdes.
How does Yuli Gurriel go before Lourdes?
Known name, known commodity.
Oh my God. Yeah, but Andrew, what did you think about these guys?
I was sorting by ADP, and then I had some rankings pulled up also, like you guys were talking about on the last podcast. But the ADP, you could see Lourdes was sitting there for so long.
He was inside the top 200.
You just had to take him. I was surprised Teoscar went before him because, last season he did well, but he just seems like a fluky kind of hitter, and he's going to be fighting for playing time in the Blue Jays lineup.
Yeah, Blue Jays are deep this year.
I feel like if anything, Teoscar's more of a stolen base threat than Gurriel, which could lead people to pick him over Gurriel. And although the batted ball data looks really good, it's when he makes contact. And that hit tool to me is still a little iffy. Meanwhile, with Gurriel Jr., I think it's bona fide a good hit tool.
Well, currently, Teoscar is batting fourth for the Blue Jays, right in the middle of it. I don't see any indication that he'll be platooning. And he's projected, according to Fangraphs depth charts, to steal 11 bases. So, but yeah, this is a strikeout league, so I think a lot of that has to do with it, and also a batting average league. So, but that doesn't stop us from doing it. Picking all these high strikeout guys in this league. So whatever. Max Kepler, I went with Max Kepler. I took another right fielder because I'm running. I need an outfielder. It's a safe pick, as safe as you can get in this round. And then of course. Freddie Peralta, who
have you seen him in spring training? I know it's spring training, and as Andrew will remind me, it's just practice.
It's just practice.
But 8 1/3 innings, only 8 hits allowed, and 3 walks, 15 strikeouts. That's a K per 9 over 16. Yeah. He's insane. In Milwaukee, they don't have the starting pitching options. He needs to be a starter, and if he has that relief pitcher eligibility out of the gate, and I can use him as a starter. Oh, sign me up. Sign me up.
Well, he flourished last year as a reliever, so I think you're fine either way there, Sean.
Yeah, either way, I made a good pick. So thank you, Felipe. I'll pat myself on the back.
Yeah, go ahead. Franmil Reyes, my namesake, my team's namesake, going to Andrew here. Why did you take my favorite player off my hands there?
I just like, now that Cleveland, Lindor's gone, they don't really have anyone to hit in the middle of the order behind Ramirez. So I feel like he's going to pick up a lot of those RBIs. The hit tool's there. We all know that, but it's just whether he can put it together, stay healthy, and get those at bats. Really.
Yeah. It's always that's always a concern, is those strikeouts. But man, when he makes contact, look out.
It's weird with him is that he's had a higher strikeout rate in the majors than really he ever did in the minors. But the swinging strike rate isn't all that terrible. So it's a weird thing that he could really improve in terms of strikeouts. But last year he only had a 450 slugging, which if I had to take the over under going into next year, that's an easy over. Because have you seen him? He's huge.
6'5", 275. He might as well play defensive line, I think. Maybe the Browns can use him.
For the Jets.
Or the Jets.
we got a Jets fan in here, so
he's in Cleveland. Yeah. Man, nobody wants to play for the Jets. Oh, okay. Well, apparently the Saleh guy is it Salah or Saleh? Robert Saleh?
Salah. I thought it was Salah.
Like Mohamed Salah?
Andrew, you're the fan.
It's Saleh.
Oh,
I'm not really too sure.
There you go. At least he's honest.
Yeah, we'll give him that. No, I was going to mention that Andrew, I believe, is also a Liverpool fan. So Mohamed Salah. Chad Green going to Leon's team. That's a really good pick. I like that pick a lot.
Especially in a holds league like ours.
League, yeah.
That's a good pick.
And then another Yankee Davey Garcia going to Mario Margola's team. That's somebody I've been keeping an eye on for a while.
Never too early. Mario Margola picking a young starting pitcher makes sense.
Yeah. Then another young pitcher going, Dustin May. So back-to-back young starting pitchers, or at least projected starting pitchers.
Is he starting?
Who,
I don't know. I'm not sure if he's starting.
Neither is Davey Garcia. That's why I said potential starting pitchers.
I guess.
That's how you do it. Pete Fairbanks going
to
Jacob's team. Yeah.
He's a good pitcher.
Good relief pitcher there. Austin Nola to Mike Harvey. So I'm pretty sure he's heartbroken that he didn't get a chance to pick Yadier Molina, maybe? Or does he have Yadier Molina?
He picked him later in the draft. I know he had to.
He did? All right.
I'll look. You keep going.
Okay. Will Smith, not the catcher, not the rapper, but the left-handed relief pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, going to Henry. Henry, believing in the Will Smith hype train that he will one day be the ultimate closer for Atlanta. And then Buster Posey going to, what's his face? Matt Whelan, and going back-to-back picks, Buster Posey, Luis Arias, a couple of high contact guys, so to speak there. Anything? Well, let me go back to the 14th.
He did not get Yadier Molina. Sad face.
Okay. Any I mean, we are seeing 2 catchers and maybe actually a run on catchers coming up soon. But before we move on to the 15th round, anything that's kind of stands out for let's start with Andrew. Anything that stands out for you in that in those highlighted areas here?
Well, I think you're seeing a lot of those guys that have kind of been sitting around for a while. People are starting to take those off the board. A lot less reaching, a lot more looking for value here. But that was my approach anyway.
Okay. And then Sean, did you want to talk about any of these players that is highlighted in that area?
I keep wanting to pick Will Smith. I don't want to pick him in the top 200. Or, I mean, granted, with 3 rounds of keepers, he'd be right around 200. But I want him after 250, if anything.
Yeah.
I love Arias. Posey, I want to believe in, but I don't know. I think he might be done.
Posey?
I don't know. I think he might be done. I think he's David Wright all over again, except he actually gets into the Hall of Fame.
Well, you know what it is, Sean. He's well rested. He didn't play last year. So.
Oh, well rested.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yoenis Cespedes
is
Cespedes is real well rested. He should have a great year, right?
Yeah, but nobody likes him though. So, but people like Buster Posey, I think.
The jawline.
Another second baseman going to in this round as well. Henry, Tommy LaStella. What do you think about that pick there, Sean?
LaStella had like one of the weirdest years you've ever seen, especially in today's day and age. He had a walk rate of almost 12% and a strikeout rate barely over 5%. And I was looking at an interview of Farhan Zaidi, the Giants GM, who went out and signed LaStella, and he said that he just sat there and he looked at his 2020 numbers and was just like dumbfounded. Like, how is this happening in today's day and age? I mean, he wasn't as good as he was in 2019. In terms of WRC plus, he was slightly better, but overall OPS was about the same. He could be really good. He just needs to stay on the field. He could find himself in a platoon with someone like Wilmer Flores. They got a lot of moving pieces on that Giants team. Mauricio Dubon. Yeah. One of them has to take the job and run with it. And if, say, Wilmer Flores does, and LaStella could be doing great, but if Flores is raking, then it's harder for him to get at bats.
Oh, man. Well, LaStella has shown to be productive at one point in his life, and he was top 5 prospect, I believe, if not top 10 for the Atlanta Braves at one point of his life. But yeah, it's like put up or shut up time now. He goes to another big ballpark in San Francisco. He must have liked the Bay Area so much that he's just stayed there.
Yeah.
Jordan Hicks going to our resident Cardinals fan, Mike Harvey out in Eastern Washington. I know you like him a lot, right, Sean?
Yeah. I mean, we mentioned him yesterday.
Yes.
If he is the closer, then it's a great pick. But with all the other options that they have at their disposal right now, we're not sure he's the closer, especially since he hasn't pitched in almost 2+ years.
And Henry pointed out that Tommy LaStella has eligibility everywhere, especially we talked about that as well, Sean.
I think he's first, second, and third. And Evan Longoria is injured right now, so LaStella could find a home at third base if Longoria can't get on the field.
So before we move on, I want to ask Andrew this. We talk about all the time here on the podcast that eligibility this year was very frustrating because, especially in our league where it's like very limited, it's not Yahoo, unfortunately. But what do you think about the lack of eligibility? Or did you notice that, or was it a problem for you, Andrew, when drafting?
Definitely turned into a problem towards the end there, but what I started doing was picking guys based on where they probably will be eligible, like midway through the season. So like later on in the draft, I pick a couple string of left fielders actually, but like Lourdes Gurriel, we were talking about him before. We don't know for sure if he's going to be playing left field every day, or if some injuries happen, he could move to the middle infield. That's someone who can move around the diamond. So I was trying to target guys like that, guys who might have center field eligibility, but they could still slide into the other corner spots, things like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's going to be key is trying to anticipate where these multiple eligibility guys will be coming from. So that's a really good point there. Yuli Gurriel, we talked about his brother. Apparently, Sean doesn't like the older brother. Yuli.
I like Yuli. I just don't understand him over Lourdes, but
well, you know, have a funny way of showing it there, Sean.
Is what it is.
Mitch Garver. Do you believe in Mitch Garver after Love? Sean?
I don't know what to think of Mitch Garver. Is he just like a one and done? He very well could be.
Yeah, I think he's one and done. But people love him. They fell in love with that one season, that 1 year, and people are all over him. Aaron Savali going to Mario Margola. He wanted to make sure he got a Cleveland pitcher. There's Yadier Molina going to Leon Tompkins' team. Sam Huff. Why, Andrew? Why Sam Huff? What do you see in him?
Well, I have Sam Huff in actually another dynasty league, and I've been kind of monitoring him for a while. I know he's hurt right now, I think, but he's probably going to stick with that Texas starting job for majority of the season. So I think he's going to give me at bats. He does strike out a lot, which like it could hurt me, but he puts up power numbers. So if that evens out with my team, the way it's constructed, I'm not trying to win on strikeouts anyway. So we'll see how it turns out.
Little bit of a background. I basically gifted Sam Huff to Andrew in this 30-team dynasty. I had too many catchers. All Sam Huff has to do now is beat out Jose Trevino and Jonah Heim. That can't be that hard, right? I mean, seriously. And he's the only Gary Sanchez clone that I'll actually buy into. I mean, the exit velos are off the chart. He's going to strike out, but I actually think he's a better batting average play than Sanchez himself. So I actually love that pick. The only issue is going to be the playing time.
Well, he can't beat out anybody if he's going to be on the injured list. So we'll see.
Looking at you, George Springer.
If he can come back healthy. Jameson Taillon. So you, Mr. Flannery, picking a Yankees player. What do you like about Jameson Taillon coming up in the season?
Well, obviously, I had some starting pitching issues from the beginning of the draft, seeing as I didn't pick one until the 5th round. Taillon is always a guy I've liked. Going into New York, he's really seemed to, even before this, in his last few games before he got hurt, he started really throwing the breaking balls more and breaking away from that Pittsburgh, throw two-seamers, pitch to contact. I never thought that was something what Taillon was. He had 2 really good breaking balls, but he only threw one of them for whatever reason. He's always had really good control, solid ground ball rates. Going to the AL East might be rough, but he should pick up some wins. With his control, he should get, good ratios, plus the wins, plus I think he has some untapped strikeout potential. He's never had a strikeout per inning before in his career, and I think we're going to see that this year. I could see a 9.5 bordering closer to 10 with maybe 10 to 12 wins. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
All right, moving on to Dalton Varsho, who we talked ad nauseum last night, and seems like every night.
You mean John Jaso, right?
Would you stop? No. Here's the latest news. As of March 22nd, which we're on March 23rd. So as of yesterday, Varsho started in right field and went 2 for 4 with a run scored in Sunday.
Yeah, so is Pavin Smith.
No, if everybody can be happy about spring training results, I can be happy too, goddammit. Varsho snapped a hitless streak of 22 at-bats. Suck it, Sean.
22 at-bats, wow.
He snapped it in half.
He's doing his best Gary Sanchez impersonation.
The start in right field was his third as the D-backs evaluate candidates to potentially fill in for Cole Calhoun, who could miss first 2 weeks of the season. On that front, Varsho misjudged a fly ball that turned into a triple per Nick Piacoro of the Arizona Republic, which stands One Nation Under God. All right, so I already talked about Varsho last night. I really wanted him in that points league. Looks like it's not gonna happen too much there, but I still have hope for him in this league because all I need for him is just to hit for a little bit of contact, and that's all I'm asking for my catcher. And the best part about him is that he'll be playing outfield and still retain catcher eligibility this season. Manuel Margot going to Jet. Tony Gonsolin going to Aaron Zook. I want to say something about Tony Gonsolin, but it's like at this point, I think we know what's up with him. Do you have anything extra to add about Tony Gonsolin there, Sean?
Not until there's an injury in the Dodgers starting rotation.
Oh boy. And then Aaron goes back to back and goes with Kyle Lewis. Let's see here. Kyle Lewis, we talked about him kind of yesterday because we were talking about Luis Robert. People like to bash Luis Robert, but for some reason they give Kyle Lewis a pass. Can Kyle Lewis make up for a really terrible second half? Let's start with Andrew here first. What do you think about Kyle Lewis there?
I wouldn't be shocked if he did if the first half was a sign of things to come, but at the same time, that second half, it's just not something I want to buy in on, especially in such a short season, but it wouldn't shock me either way. I probably lean towards no. That's why I didn't take him, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a difference between, getting picked in the first round of this draft versus which Sean immediately snatched them up, and getting Kyle Lewis in the 16th round. Sean, is Kyle Lewis a Luis Robert clone, or why did Kyle Lewis fall so far in this draft in the 16th round?
I think a reason behind a lot of Kyle Lewis's stuff is one, the same second half struggles that we saw out of guys like Luis Robert, who you mentioned. But two, we keep hearing about these stud outfield prospects that the Mariners have. Jared Kelenic, Julio Rodriguez, or the one who I think makes it onto the team even before both of those two guys, Taylor Trammell. Granted, if Taylor Trammell makes the roster out of spring training, I still think Kyle Lewis's job is safe, because I think Trammell right now is battling out Jake Fraley, which that seems like an easy choice on who you would pick. But the issue is when Jared Kelenic gets called up, and that's not an if, that's a when. Mm-hmm. If Jared Kelenic gets called up, Taylor Trammell's already on the roster and doing well, and Kyle Lewis looks more like the second half Kyle Lewis than the first half Kyle Lewis, he might just be a fourth outfielder. And that's a really risky proposition.
Kyle Lewis in my rankings is the 35th best outfielder coming into this fantasy
especially
season.
With how good Mitch Haniger's looked, and he's slated for right field. Left field's still up for grabs, but when Kelenic comes up, I mean, Kyle Lewis could very well be out of a job.
That's a shame. So let's see here. Jose Iglesias, no relation to any of the Iglesiases, Enrique or Julio, going to Jet Dry. We talked about him in a previous draft.
We're going to laugh at the pick and make fun of the pick, but it'll probably end up working out somehow.
Nick Solak, who for some reason I've been accused of making fun of. I actually like Nick Solak. I just wasn't sure about his playing time. It looks like he is going to secure a spot in that Rangers lineup. Tyler Mahle, we talked about him yesterday because he was on my team. Sean still likes him, obviously. Okay.
Needed SP help.
let's talk about Lourdes Gurriel really quick. Andrew Sullivan here. You touched base upon it, but anything else you want to add about Lourdes Gurriel since he is on your team and you picked him in the 16th round of this draft?
I think he's kind of that guy that gets overlooked on the Blue Jays when you're talking about Vlad Jr., Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio. I think Gurriel's done nothing but produce since he's been up, really, and he kind of just gets pushed to the side. He gets like you see, he gets pushed off his positions, rightfully so. But I'm buying in on him, and he's going to be surrounded by some talent in that lineup. I like where I got him here.
I mean, he's been better than Vlad. There's no other way of saying it. Between 2019 and 2020, he's played 141 games, 567 plate appearances, 289, 336, 538, a 128 WRC plus, 31 home runs, 160 plus runs and RBIs combined, and 9 stolen bases. Like that, there's no other way of saying it. This is far too late for a player of this caliber and what he's shown so far.
Yeah, and I think that he got hurt by the fact that we do the left field, center field, right field split, and there's just too many left fielders and not enough of the other two positions. Also has a lot to do with the lack of multiple eligibility players. So I think that I think that hurt Lourdes Gurriel. Otherwise, he's a top 20 outfielder for me. And we just talked about Kyle Lewis going before him because Kyle Lewis has center field eligibility and Gurriel does not. So that ended up biting him in the butt. Eduardo Escobar, who we playfully talk about him and who's Eddie Rosario basically being the same player. He's going to Leon's team. I think we talked about Rosario before, right, Sean? Did we not talk about Escobar?
They're pretty close. Rosario probably has a higher floor. Escobar had the great 2019 that nobody talks about, where he had like 119 RBIs. Like, yeah, obviously we don't want to look too much into RBIs, but that matters in fantasy. So it's risky. He was really bad in 2020, but you got to look through the tea leaves there.
I drink tea. No, I don't see through tea.
Hey, some people smoke them.
T. Oscar Hernandez. Okay, Willie Castro. It always goes around. Willie Castro going to Mario's team. I feel like we talked about him ad nauseum, but
we did.
We did. All right. Basically, he's just a guy. I don't know. I don't That's what
Batting
I'm saying.
average.
Batting
Yay.
average. Okay, yay. Batting average. Yeah. Okay. Dylan Moore. James is on the chat and he's getting ready for us to grill him here. You a believer in Dylan Moore? Let's start with Andrew. Andrew, what do you think about Dylan Moore?
Well, he's one of those guys that in that Seattle lineup, he might get the at-bats to make him viable where he's taken, but I'm not really seeing him as someone who could put it together sustainably over a full season, but we'll see what happens.
Sean, thoughts on Dylan Moore? I don't think I've heard you say anything about Dylan Moore all off season.
I've tried not to because I don't like talking about him. He's like a worse version of Jonathan VR. And a player has to be a certain something bad for me to say he's a worse version of VR. This is a guy who back in like the early fall, his ADP was far too high because they saw 12 stolen bases in 38 games. And they're like, oh my God, he's going to steal 30 bases. He doesn't have a job. He's not a good hitter. He has like a 30% strikeout rate over the last 2 years. And people are picking him for stolen bases and some little bit of power production. This is fool's gold. This is Jonathan VR all over again. If you draft this guy, you're going to feel bad about it when you drop him come June.
Okay. Let's see here. The Mariners have anybody in their farm system to replace him if they have to. I'm not seeing it. I think we know why Dylan Moore is such a sexy pick over here. It's because the Mariners have nobody else. Let me see. Shed Long. Oh, okay, Shed Long, but he's hurt. He has a stress fracture somewhere. That's as of September of 2020.
I mean, what did they even start at second base now, right?
I'm sorry, who? Dylan Moore?
Dylan Moore, yeah.
Yeah,
second base.
Starting second baseman according to
I don't buy it at all.
I mean, unless they plug in Ty France, but the Mariners are a mess.
Ty France has been batting second and I believe playing second base. If I have to pick between Ty France and Dylan Moore, that's a really easy pick.
Well, the point is,
I might be tempted to pick Sam Haggerty over Dylan Moore. And Sam Haggerty could actually, I believe in his stolen bases. Dylan Moore, oh God, it pisses me off.
I was gonna say the Mariners are so bad that they're actually starting both Dylan Moore and Ty France, and they might put some room in for Sam Haggerty.
I think Ty France is good. But that's me.
All right, that's not saying much. Okay. Speaking of Diego Castillo going to Will Ponzi's, I believe I just saw Jacob Moses chime in, or was that an accident?
He is watching.
Oh, oops, that's awkward. So I saw him like, oh, I thought we were just doing 3 people, not a 4-person booth, but okay, I guess we'll wait. Diego Castillo, we've mentioned that if you pick a Tampa Bay Rays player in this draft, you're not picking them for saves, you're picking them for everything else that makes relief pitching so much fun in this league. Paul DeYoung going to Mike Harvey, another Cardinals player. He did learn his lesson. What's going to happen when they all go to the casinos at the Ozarks and they all get COVID again? Lorenzo Cain going to Henry. He still believes in Lorenzo Cain. Andrew, I want to hear your thoughts on Lorenzo Cain. Do you still believe in him?
Nope.
Okay.
Lorenzo Cain. A lot of Mets fans wanted him a few years ago. He's just one of those guys who's been trending down for years. I don't see him having a resurgence, but for categories league, might give you some stolen bases. He won't really kill your rate stats, but I'm not a fan of him.
I mean, if it says anything, the Mets fans wanted Michael Bourne a few years ago too. The thing that makes this pick so bad is in the next round, and then 2 rounds after that. Next round, you had Ian Happ go. If you have to tell me to pick Ian Happ or Lorenzo Cain, I'm picking Ian Happ literally every single time, and it's not even close. And then Aaron Hicks. I mean, Henry's a Yankees fan. Why didn't you pick Aaron Hicks? Aaron Hicks is better than Lorenzo Cain.
Apparently, there's a band of brothers situation going on here. James talking about a story between you, Andrew, and James fighting every single Mets fan on the planet about the Lorenzo Cain potential signing to Queens, New York over there. So I see that you all stick together.
We got to stand for Brandon Nimmo, center fielder over here.
Jesus. Rafael Dolis going to Matt Whelan. He goes back-to-back relief pitchers in the 16th, 17th round. I like the Sims pick. I'm not quite sure about Dolis, but with the Kirby Yates injury, that might pay off for him, maybe?
I was looking on Twitter, and someone in one of the NFBC main event drafts picked Jordan Romano in the 7th round after the Kirby Yates news. So if Jordan Romano is going in the 7th round, yeah, Dolis in the 16th makes sense. But I'm avoiding the Blue Jays bullpen at all costs.
Yeah, that's not a pretty sight. Giovanni Gallegos steals a Cardinal from Mike Harvey, who then turns around and goes and gets Carlos Santana. Okay, I'm surprised you 27 Mets fans that we have did not fight over David Peterson a lot.
That's because Jacob picked them all.
But Jacob picked them in the 17th.
I mean, he picked Taijuan Walker. He picked David Peterson. He picked all the Mets guys. Somebody's got to do it. I think it was James last year. No, now this year it's Jacob.
So the one advantage of playing with a bunch of Mets fans is they can't help themselves. I love the homer picks. Just means more wins for me. Mark Melanson. Oh, well, you know what? Andrew, since you are a Mets fan, say something nice about David Peterson. Change my mind about him.
I do like David Peterson as a pitcher, but in fantasy, he's not going to give you a ton of innings. He's not going to give you a ton of strikeouts. He'll probably give you 5 solid innings, maybe a win, but I don't really like him this year with the sort of depth options the Mets have with Walker, with Lucchesi. But who knows? Like, injuries happen. He could step into a 4 or 3 role in the rotation. Carrasco's already hurt. But yeah, I wasn't really targeting any of those sort of bottom 3 guys of the rotation.
It's a shame because Sean and I, we talked about the Mets in January and how much we love their roster. We like their pitching rotation, and it's crumbling apart right as we speak, unfortunately.
Who brought Jacob in here?
There he is.
I left a link out there, and he snuck in. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I thought I saw him. He's trying to connect to audio right now.
I think he's mad that we were crap talking him, but come on, Jacob. Also known as the other half of the Step Back podcast. Oh, he went away. And that's unfortunate.
All right, we'll give him a second. In the meantime, Henry has an explanation. The Lorenzo Cain, or as I like to call him, Sean, Lorenzo Cain pick was just a mistake on my part. Needed a center fielder in the spot. I was just drafting while driving. Just a bad pick. Just a bad idea, Henry. Don't
never draft while driving.
Come on, man. You're better off drinking alcohol before you draft. No, don't drink and drive either. Come on,
you're gonna kill your own roster.
I'm gonna get canceled. Is what I'm gonna get. Jacob, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, explain yourself about that David Peterson pick. How homer of a pick was it, or are you gonna give me a better reason than that?
No, I figured out he was gonna start since Carrasco went down, so he is gonna be. I think he slotted for the number 4 spot. That was the main reason.
He is SP4 and Joey Lucchesi as well, who I also like. Yeah. All righty.
He just had to come in and defend himself here. I love that. I left that invite out there for Andrew and James, and Jacob heard us talking all that mad shit. He said, "Let me hop in here and destroy some people."
You ain't gonna get me to smoke without me having
gun smoke. Henry says drinking and driving is a lot better than drafting and driving, and I go, well, if you're driving, you're already drafting the cars in front of you, aren't you?
That's true.
Because it's New York City. It's bumper to bumper. Okay. Mark Melanson going to another Mets fan, going to James's team. Well, who said that? Who threw a raspberry there?
That was me.
Okay. You don't like him at all? I mean, even with Drew Pomeranz getting hurt?
Maybe. I think they're going to be a closer by committee. I think they got options back there.
All right. Well, since we got Jacob on board, can I get your thoughts on Ian Happ there, Jacob, going to the Yankees fan Mario Margola there?
Trash. Sorry.
I like it. Short and sweet.
I mean, yeah, Ian Happ, he's so wishy-washy, but maybe you can maybe you can get a good season out of him, but I don't trust him, to be honest.
I mean, I got a good season Ian Happ's, out of him.
I made this comp earlier this afternoon on Twitter. Ian Happ is Michael Conforto that we don't talk about. He had breakout number 1. He's about to have breakout number 2.
And I can see that because when he gets hot, he's just, he sprays the ball all over the place. So I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, I was happy with him last year. He was in both my leagues last year, and both points and the categories league here with you guys, and I was happy with him. So
yeah, he's a good player. I'm just giving y'all shit because he's a
Cubs fan. Yeah, Cubs.
Yeah, absolutely. Fan. No, but he's a good player though. But I like that comp though. That's a really good comp, Sean.
Speaking of the Step Back podcast, your partner in crime, Leon Tompkins, goes after Blake Trinan. What do you think about him getting that relief pitcher out of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Jacob?
He's actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
And It was a good pick. You know, fuck Leon, but I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, he was solid. You know, he'll keep the ERA down. Like for the past few years, he's been really good with that. Strikeouts have been up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good pick. It was solid. Nice pick, Leon.
James,
especially in a holds league.
sorry.
I think he's going to be great in a holds league.
Exactly.
James Paxton going to Andrew O'Sullivan. Explain yourself there, Andrew.
It's just pure bounce back pick for me. I've been high on James Paxton when he was a Mariner. I used to target him in drafts there.
Yeah.
I think this might be a Sonny Gray situation. I'm not too confident in saying that because I think Sonny Gray is better than James Paxton, but I think if those, like, if he keeps getting strikeouts there, it's a big ballpark. I think as long as he pitches and he stays healthy, I think he's going to be good there.
All righty. Let's see. A follow-up question. I had to ask you since we're on the subject matter, and then we'll get going. Because this worried me in my other draft last night there, Sean. But you, Andrew, does it worry you any bit that he's in a 6-man rotation in Seattle?
I think it might suit him better, honestly.
I was going to say the same thing.
If that helps him stay healthy, if that helps him go that extra inning or two, I think that might actually serve him better. It's rare for guys to pitch better in a 6-man than a 5-man, but you never know. He's shown flashes, but he's never done it consistently, really.
Interesting take there. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll consider that for next year, I guess, if he's still his arm is still intact. Also, I noticed that all 3 of you guys have beige walls, and I'm here with the colorful orange wall here.
It's not even a Cubs color. Come on now, get with the program.
Oh man, I was inspired by my trip to Mexico when I got this painted. So,
well, you see, me and Andrew will blend in. You know, Jacob gets a good contrast from it.
Goddamn right. Year around pan.
And I'm talking about you, Kelly. I don't. We are not alike. Carson Kelly going to Sean's team. I guess I don't know. You still believe in Carson Kelly and his hard hit rate? That
I don't, but I needed a catcher. I didn't have a catcher until this point. Will Smith sniped for me. Omar Narvaez picked like 250 picks over his ADP by James, who should be joining us later. Hint. But I had nothing. Catcher was gone. And I was like, I need a full-time catcher. And Carson Kelly, it was like one of the only ones left. So plus he has a little bit of upside.
James is saying that I have an orange wall because I'm a closet Mets fan.
Yeah.
By the way, I didn't get a chance to pick any Mets players this year. I think you guys learned your lesson.
Yeah, Jacob picked them all. I said this earlier.
I did. Actually, no, and it wasn't really. I didn't mean to. They just fell on my lap. Like McNeil was right there, and I'm like, shit, should I? Here for these, absolutely. Dominic Smith, absolutely. I mean, if they fell on my
Jacob was like a little dude at the buffet. I'll take a helping of that. I'll take a helping of that.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oh yeah.
The Mets buffet.
Yeah, so I'm a living down by the Mets now.
What is the Mets buffet? Is it a carvery? Is it a salad bar? What do you guys?
It's definitely in a salad bar.
We're in a salad bar. We're pretty much to the point where you can get all the food you want, and then at the end, when you're about to get that last bite, you're like, yeah, I'm about to finish off my meal. Something fucks up, and then it just fucks up your whole night.
Your buttons fall off, right? If you're wearing a collared shirt,
when your 14 billionaire owner buys the entire buffet and then all the food goes to shit right at the very end.
Exactly.
Well, that's what usually happens after a buffet.
Back to the table.
Hey, well, we're talking about the gourmet section here now. We got a billionaire owner, as Scott Boras would say. We're dining in the gourmet section of the supermarket now.
Well, can I just point out that that's actually what happens after you eat a buffet? It all ends up in shit anyway. Joey Wendell going to a Jet Dries team. Oh no, I'm sorry. Taylor, before he goes to Joey Wendell goes to Jets team, I picked up Taylor Rogers again. We don't know the closing situation, but we talked about it ad nauseum. What he can't do in saves, he can definitely do in low ERA, high strikeouts, and holds. Hopefully holds.
I like that pick though. It's pretty solid.
That's why I made it, man. Thank you. Joey Wendell going to Jets team, and
I need Aaron to stop making so many damn good picks.
Well, before you get to Aaron's pick, Joey Wendell and Chris Taylor going back to Jets team.
Chris. Okay, there we go.
Do you know why? just looking for that second base depth, maybe. I don't know.
Hey, if you want to handcuff Gavin Lux, maybe, I don't know.
Oh yeah, did he pick Gavin Lux? I don't
I'm
remember.
not sure if he did.
All right, doesn't matter. Brian Reynolds and Jordan Romano. So Aaron taking advantage of a little bit of home cooking there. She must have known something that we didn't know, as she has the emergency Kirby Yates plan there. Brian Reynolds, we talked about him. We like him, but we're not in love with him. I turn around, get Andrew Haney. We talked about him in the Angels preview. You and Austin Spiro, our Angels fan, our resident Angels fan. Not very high on him, but I am, so I'm all in on Andrew Haney. Craig Kimbrell going to Mad Dog.
This one's gonna piss me off for the entire season.
Well, why'd you pick him then?
This was supposed to be Omar Narvaez. I was supposed to go back-to-back catcher and get both of the guys that I wanted that were left, and I just lost track of time. Came back to the draft, saw I was on the clock. And I was like, oh, Craig Kimbrell's still there. Let me get a third closer. Omar Narvaez will definitely be there when the draft comes back to me. And he goes 4 picks later to James.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, just to give you a fantasy update, Felipe.
Go ahead.
Julius Randle, 37.73, 6 rebounds, by the way.
Oh,
You can't handle Randle.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So, sometimes when Knicks fans don't believe in their own players, Felipe believes in them. When Mets fans don't believe in their players, Felipe will. So I'm just saying. Big shout out to Joe, who's listening on the podcast. He says that he wants in if there's space later, so I'll add him to the list that's growing and growing and growing. So yeah, it's a league that everybody wants to be a part of, but it's a long waiting list, unfortunately, but you're on the list there, Joe. Congratulations. Andres Jimenez going to Big Dinger Energy, which is our guest, Andrew O'Sullivan, in the 18th round. You just missed him, right? Is that what it is, Andrew?
A little bit. No, but needed middle infield. It was getting to be slim pickings, and figure he'll give some stolen bases, possibly. He hits for contact. He doesn't strike out a ton. Figured it was a kind of home run pick there.
Oh, it's ironic because he doesn't hit a lot of home runs apparently, but
no.
I think he qualifies both at second, short, and maybe even third base.
And third base. So he's corner infield and middle infield eligible this year.
Sweet gig if he can do it. Tanner Rainey going to Smoking Aces as
wait, Leon picked another national?
Yeah. We make fun of Jacob, but Leon over here. But no, we should have seen this a mile coming. He did that in the Nationals preview that we did with him, and that 3-man draft that we did with him. The Nationals were a part of it, and he ended up picking like 3 relief pitchers from the Nationals. So we should have known better. Austin Riley going to Mario's team. I forgot what he said about that pick in the chat or whatever, but
something about big home runs. I don't care about strikeouts. Never too early. Move on.
All right, move on. Omar Narvaez. That's the pick that what's his face Sean was trying to make, and
the kick in the nuts pick.
Yar going to James's team. So James, good job. You just pissed off Sean. Hunter Doja going to our man Jacob here. What do you like about that guy?
He can obviously play multiple positions.
Mm-hmm.
Has pop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he won't hit for, you know, he'll be like a 260, 70 hitter. Gets on base from what I've seen at a decent clip. And plus I needed, you know, depth. So this is when the depth started. I'm like, okay, I got to get this person. I had a vision, but Hunter Dozier, I've always liked him. He just does everything except for steal bases, though.
Yeah, well,
he has 6 stolen bases over the last 2 years, and he's actually said he wants to run more. So you might be in luck there.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we talked about that in last night's podcast where Sean mentioned that he wants to run more, and I go, well, he's on the right team with the Royals because they're not doing anything this year. Might as well run for it. Corey Kluber going to what's his name? Mike Harvey's team over there in Washington. Well, who did that?
Me. It's me. It's always me.
Okay. I just want to make sure because I'm not keeping track. Joey Bart. We just talked about Buster Posey. Henry already declared that this is the start of the Joey Bart era. Cesar Hernandez going to Matthew Whelan, and he gets Chris Rodriguez. Chris Rodriguez is not even on my cheat sheet there, Sean. Who is Chris Rodriguez and what does he do exactly?
He is a nobody who I believe the same night that Whelan picked him, he had a game in spring training. I would love to pull it up, but he went like 3 innings and struck out like 6 guys. And he's one of those, he hasn't pitched above high A ball, but He's posted pretty good strikeout numbers in the minors. Nothing crazy. This was a homer pick, which falls in line with what Wheelan does. But
Jeez,
we're gonna let him do it.
Wow. All right. Okay. I don't want to pick on him because I know he was super busy. As you can see, that he took him 3 hours to make his next 2 picks here. But at any rate, James is letting us know that it was Henry who picked Gavin Lux. So let's put that credit on his name. Jorge Polanco goes back to Henry. We talked about Jorge Polanco last night on the Mardi Gras Madness draft. Apparently he is starting, so that's a really nice pick for Henry there. Zach Davies.
I think we talked about every single person in this round last night. Polanco, Davies, Castro. Maybe not Seager and McMahon, but
yeah. Well, we talked about Seager all the time. Ryan McMahon, no relation to Vince McMahon. We do have a wrestling group. Go join that there. Matthew Boyd. I'm really mad at Leon.
Opening day starter, baby. Let's go.
I was looking to get him, and then Leon took him from the snatches of my will there. Archie Bradley. Andrew, you a believer in Archie Bradley? Unlike the people in this panel here? What's up?
A lot of strikeouts. That closer job for Neris is really flimsy in Philly. I think he's got room there. It was just relievers are starting to go. I figured he'd give me rate stats at the very least.
There you go. Well, it seems like that's the hope for every Archie Bradley owner is like, oh, I hope he gets the saves. I hope he does this. I hope he does that. So we'll see about that. Alejandro Kirk, which is not a surprise. Sean's been in love with that guy since forever now.
He's so good. He's so good
apparently.
And the fact that my 2 catchers are absolute crap now. I need Kirk to run away with that catching job in Toronto. Granted, he doesn't run of much with anything, so maybe if he just briskly walks away with it,
just power walk. Okay,
yeah, power walk. Yeah.
Jose Urquidy going to my team. I think I had him last year. I have him again this year. Hopefully he stays healthy, unlike last year. I am ready to roll with Jose Urquidy of the Houston Astros. Tyler Duffy, that's a really nice pick. I like that. Going to Jets team. Very peculiar pick here with Aaron Zook of Earl here, Mike Clevenger. Even though he has the Tommy John surgery and won't play the rest of the year, I guess this is a move for next year. Stash pick, yeah. Okay. Well, it's not going to help her defend her crown.
Oh, the Jonathan India pick? He's playing this year.
No, I'm talking about Mike Clevenger.
Oh, yeah, that's really? Stash pick. India's going to play this year. I'm 100 at least 300 plate appearances.
All right.
Okay.
And we made it to the 20th round. We got 7 rounds to go. Sean, what do you want to do after this?
Right here, we have our second guest coming in. Andrew O'Sullivan, if you want to say anything else, any of your other picks later in the draft that you really liked, go ahead and highlight them for us.
Let me just look through here. I took Pineda in the where was that? The 25th round.
Okay.
I'm not 100% believer in him, but he puts it together. He'll have that 3 starter spot there. Get some wins. He strikes out guys. That's
gonna eat up innings.
Good value there. Yeah, eats an innings.
As long as he doesn't get suspended again.
Yeah. Besides that, it's really I kind of just went based on needs, based on I was telling Sean before the podcast started, this is where I started going for that eligibility, going for guys who have like Garrett Hampson, second base and center field.
He could be a lottery ticket for you, man. That's an absolute lottery ticket.
That's speed.
But yeah, that last pick, Isaiah Kiner Falefa, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got eligibility everywhere this year already. So
in playing time, that's the best part about him.
Yeah, That's it. So it's guys like that I was trying to target late, try to get some lottery tickets, like you said.
Gotcha. Now, Jacob, give us one bold prediction for your team out of not counting the guys that you picked in the first 12 rounds. I don't think you have it in front of you, but if off the top of your head, out of all these later picks, who do you think is going to be the best one for you?
I would have to go with, I'm going to throw it out there. Later picks. Aaron Hicks.
Okay.
If he's
He's
healthy,
projected to hit third in one of the best lineups in the American League.
I'm just
It's a
that's
good
what-
one.
that right there. I'm just like, okay. You never know. He might. It's either him or Nemo. I'm gonna
Hey,
gonna be moving
I'll
out.
never say no to Nemo.
damn golly Nemo. Man, you can't go wrong.
Golly, man.
All right, last question
well,
for both of you, really quick. A lightning round. First thought in your head, Andrew. Andrew, your team, where does it finish this year?
Top 4.
Hey.
Jacob, same question to you.
I'll say top 4. I think I'm solid enough this year.
Man, that means Aaron and Jet are not gonna make it in the playoffs or something.
Not our problem.
That'd be a damn shame, right?
No, it wouldn't be.
because I'm not getting off my top stool. Screw you guys.
Somebody got to go.
Well, I'd like to thank you guys so much for joining in. We got
problem.
James, who
That's
has
fine.
already kicked me in the nuts a couple of times in this draft. We're gonna let him get his spiel in. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hopefully, you'll come back one of these days. Have a great night, guys.
Definitely.
You too.
Thanks,
you.
guys. Thank you so much.
I'll
Nice
see
meeting
ya.
you.
Thank you.
And now we bring in James. James,
There he is.
And then
He already had himself muted and then unmuted the second we brought him in. This guy's an absolute pro. I love
I'm a
it.
streamer, man. You gotta know how it works.
He's got the streamer voice too. I
Are
love
you
it.
seriously a streamer? What do you
Yes.
stream, or are you just joking?
I play esports. I stream my esports.
Do you now?
3 days a week.
Do you have a Twitch or whatever?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, go ahead and plug it, man.
Plug it, bro.
Plug
Come
it?
on.
All right, yeah, I got you. Hold on. I don't have. I'll plug it in a little bit. I'm not.
He's got to put us on hold. It's okay.
I
We'll
don't-
move
I don't have
on,
Facebook
Felipe.
open.
All right. Jonathan India going to Aaron Zook, who you just mentioned will be playing. He is listed as the batter number 8 for the Cincinnati Red with 12 home runs, 7 stolen bases, according to Fangraphs depth chart. But he is a former highly touted prospect. He kind of fell off. I think we talked about him.
He had wrist injuries, and
that's
those
what
are
it was.
always known for sapping a lot of power, and especially for a guy like India who never had really plus power to begin
Yeah.
with. It really made him a profile that at third base we hated, and at second base was just boring, if not bad. And now that he's fully healthy, he looked great at the alternate site in 2020. He's had a hell of a spring training. I mean, Suarez is playing shortstop. Moustakas is playing third. You know who's playing second base? Jonathan India. That's
good.
huge.
That's really good. Oh, okay. So you
Oh,
James-
he plugged in the Facebook. Go ahead and you think you could try and maybe sound it out for us so our listeners can hear?
Oh yes. It's just you go to Twitch and you could search up Sly__SSB. I stream a couple of games. That I play at my school: Overwatch, Smash Bros,
nice.
Valorant, stuff like that. Old games
Hey,
too.
there we go.
Variety streamer. Nothing crazy.
We like it. We like it.
That's good, man.
I
And
appreciate
the pandemic was kind of boring, because there was nothing to do. But I know I saw some of Sean's games, and if I find you, I will also follow you as well. But I can't
Thank
find
you.
you for some reason. So
Yeah,
I'll
it's
just
Sly_SSB. That's what it is.
SSB. Oops, I spelled it wrong. Okay,
SSB. Yeah.
gotcha.
Not like stolen bases, not just SP. It's SSB. Sneaky stolen bases.
Wait. Oh, I think I see. Are you the Sly Cooper profile?
Yes.
Sly Cooper,
yes.
the TVS
I'm
Fox?
glad you understand that. Yeah.
Oh,
Most people
my
don't get
God,
that.
bro.
That's I remember that.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I love the first Sly Cooper, man.
Yeah, Sly Cooper 2 was my favorite game probably of all time, which is why when I chose to pick my name, I picked it based off him. And I play the game on stream sometimes, but I play on the actual PS2, so it looks kind of crappy sometimes. I'm looking for emulations.
No way,
So,
man. Nothing can look
figure it
crappy on the
out.
PS2, man. Nothing can look crappy.
You should see my setup. I got the HDMI splitter, like with the PS2 going into it.
Yeah, there
And
we
then that
go.
going into my capture card, and then my capture card going into my monitor and my PC and everything. It's too much. I just need to find a ROM on my computer.
This is oh, what the hell is that? I was trying to.
That's
share
Sly Cooper.
Yeah,
Sly
but then
Cooper
I got
2 right
this
there.
stupid thing.
There we go.
You don't know.
Oh, there's some more Sly Cooper.
No, man, that's nostalgia right there. You're in my wheelhouse right there. So I'm actually glad that somebody else knows about Sly Cooper. Okay, Jackie Bradley going to Suitors Velo Raptors. Jet Dry, he's a Brewers fan, so he picks up the newly signed Brewers player there.
glad the Mets didn't get him, but we'll move on.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
More
looks like
Brandon Nimmo stand. I like it. I like it. Let me get my
Uh,
pom poms out. Like, yeah.
All right, Spencer Howard. I know he has a back injury, but at this point of the draft, I'm just looking for any upside whatsoever. After
I'm just worried about him actually getting starts. Like even before the injury, I was worried about him getting starts.
Well, it's fine because I have two guys who are out for the year in my minor league slots, so I'll put him in right there if he goes to the minor league slots or in my IL. So hoping for good things this year for Spencer Howard, who is a highly touted prospect at one point. JD Davis, who's he got? Oh, he's going to.
That's me.
Sean's
That's
team.
me. I've always been the big guy on JD Davis. I think the bat is absolutely phenomenal. The issue I kind of shoehorned myself in here was early in the draft with my keepers, which were J. Ram, Story, and Kyle Tucker. I already had third base and shortstop filled, and then two of my first four picks were Yohan Moncada and Corey Seager. So my corner infield and middle infield were already filled. And so right now, JD Davis is going to be on the bench, but he's a guy that I might be able to rotate in there in case Moncada gets hurt or in case there's any sort of, emergency contingency. And if JD Davis is the guy coming off the bench for me to fill in that spot, I feel really good about it.
James, you're a Mets fan. You like? I'm assuming you like JD Davis as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy I've been fighting for years now. So many Met fans are just like, trade for Bryant, sign this guy,
Trade for Suarez.
Frazier's a better third baseman.
Right.
But like the thing that people got to understand about JD is the reason why he's a problem there at third base right now is because nobody lets him play there. He came from an Astros team that had Bregman and they just threw JD in the trash, never gave him a chance. And he came here and he's playing left field. He didn't get a chance to really play every day and learn how to play the position. And so if he actually has a chance to play the position, he'll be good at it. If they're going to give Pete Alonso the chance at first base over Dominic Smith, especially with the way that he's been playing now, they should be giving JD a chance at third. So I'm glad he
turned two really nice 5-4-3 double plays today in their spring training game. He's got honestly a top 5 arm at the position. And I know defense doesn't really matter when it comes to fantasy, but as we always say, it matters when it comes to getting plate appearances,
That's right.
which JD Davis is still going to have to fight for. Luis Guillorme is a hell of a player. I don't think he's a best fit at third base, but he's going to wrestle some ABs away from Davis, which is why I feel more comfortable with him on my bench rather than a starting corner infield spot. But JD Davis is a hell of a bat, and they're going to find ways to get it into the game.
It's like I always say about the Mets, man. If they have a DH, that's a team I'm attacking with reckless abandon. But no DH this year meant Felipe was kind of
no Mets for Felipe.
No Mets for Felipe. That's what happened. But I'm glad that you guys were able to take advantage somewhat. Francisco Mejia. See, I wish Andrew would have stayed a little longer because I wanted to ask him about this pick, but I don't know, man. Are we done with him, or is this?
I have extreme Mejia fatigue.
Yeah, me too.
But okay. It's hard to give up on him because all he has to do, and we've said this with several players, Gavin Lux with Chris Taylor, Sam Huff with Trevino and Heim, all that Francisco Mejia has to do is beat out Mike Zunino. But as Mario said, that's a whole lot harder than it looks because, Zunino, yeah, he knows these pitchers. He knows how to catch them. He's a pretty good defensive catcher. He can't hit anything that comes at him. And Mejia has this track record in the minors of being such a good hitter. And we've seen flashes of it. It's just so uncontrolled. But, maybe Tampa Bay turns him around. And if they do, he's still only 24 years old, 25 years old.
Nah, you know what happens? If they do turn him around, he's going to get traded back to
obviously,
team,
but if he's good enough to get traded, then he's good enough to start on your fantasy team at catcher.
And it's probably better off for anybody that he gets traded, honestly.
Yeah, there you go.
Back-to-back catches going here. Pedro Severino going to Leon. I don't know. I don't trust any Orioles catchers this year. James, let's start with you. Do you trust the Orioles catching situation this year with Adley Rushman kind of lurking in the background there?
I don't know if I trust Orioles anything really, and this is coming from the person that drafted Trey Mancini. So I mean,
trust Orioles hitters and nothing else.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just catcher is just such a thin position. I feel like, and even when a team has strong catching, it's are they going to get the plate appearances? Can they get hurt? I just feel like the last couple of years, it's you could go anybody at that position, and unless their name is Real Muto, you're really just going to be getting very almost similar like
Production.
stats and
Yeah.
production from them.
Luis Patino going to Mario Margola. We know how much he loves Luis Patino, so he made sure to get him in the 20th round. Dallas Keuchel, James, that's your guy, Dallas Keuchel.
Yeah.
You trust him?
I don't know. I mean, this is like an extreme depth pick for me. I think if I had to fill a position on my starting like roster, starting pitching wise, he'd be like my fourth choice. It's just I kept a full outfield almost this year, and I just felt very strong about my hitting. And I feel like the one thing that always gets me every year is the pitching. So I'd rather just have some guys there that I think can make an impact of any sorts. And I feel like he'll be good in Chicago. So.
I mean, Keuchel is like what, your SP5, SP6?
Yeah, more like SP7.
Yeah, you already have Plesac, Paddock, Max Fried, Aaron Nola. You do have a lot of depth there. Syndergaard's on the bench right now, on the injured reserve. But it's looking, if Dallas Keuchel's that low for you, that's a pretty good pick.
We talked about Aaron Hicks already when Jacob was around, so let's move on and skip him and get to Carlos Martinez, who is once again another Cardinals player by Mike Harvey. I think that's Cardinals player number 11. I think
we need to do a spreadsheet of which homer had the most homer picks between Leon, Mike, and Jacob.
Every year I promise myself that I would do it, and I never do it. So, I mean, shoot, I have two teams, and I only picked two of my players, Rizzo and Giolito. Oh, and
maybe
Hendricks.
we can get mini banners made for them. Maybe little mini banners. No, I'll pay for the shipping, swear to God.
They'll be chasing. Okay, fine, then you do it. Yeah.
I mean, look at me. I think the only Met I picked was Noah this year, and every Met that I wanted to pick, Jacob picked them to pick right before me.
That was the funny thing was last year James was our big Mets homer pick guy, and then this year was Jacob. So it's always changing. Next year it'll probably be me. Not gonna lie.
Marwin Gonzalez, a very mysterious pick here from Henry. As Marwin Gonzalez, I think. Let me double check my spreadsheet one more time, and there he is, Marwin Gonzalez. My least favorite, or dead last, player number. What's that? 43 at the on my third base list.
Mystery irrelevant of the Felipe's rankings.
Yeah, the worst third baseman on my list, but here are a couple of things that make it mysterious for me with Henry. He's a Red Sox. He used to be playing for the Astros, so you know how Henry feels about the Astros. So it's kind of funny. Matthew Whelan, we haven't been complimenting him too much or talking too much about his team, but he did pick up Garrett Crochet. So I like that a lot. I'm not sure how productive he'll be this year because I noticed that, Sean, I don't know if you guys noticed, but with holds, it seems like there's only one relief pitcher on a team that hogs them all up, and everybody's just getting the remains or whatever. But I like this kid a lot, and that's actually a decent pick for Matthew.
I liked both these picks, honestly, because I could see Campuzano he might start the season off as the backup if Austin Nola doesn't get healthy, but I don't think he's going to get enough at bats or plate appearances, and he could be a guy that maybe Whelan's able to carry over in a minor league slot at the end of the year, and if that's the case, good for him.
Gregory Soto going to Henry, who clearly he's been listening to this podcast because we've been claiming that Soto is better than Brian Garcia for the Detroit Tigers closing situation. So good job, Henry, there. Although I'm not sure how good Gregory Soto will be, but at least we feel like he has the upside potential to get more saves than Brian Garcia. Mitch Haniger going to
this honest to God is my favorite pick of the draft.
For real? All right.
Honest to God, favorite pick of the draft.
Yeah, me and Sean are big Haniger guys.
Yeah,
we talked about this many times.
I've always wanted to be in on Haniger, like especially over the last few years, but all those back injuries, the sports hernia.
Yeah, he can't stay healthy, man.
He can't. But at this rate, if you're looking at what he's given us in the last 3 seasons when he is healthy, oh my God. And he's looked great in spring training. He looks healthy in spring training. It's not even the fact that he's doing well. It's just, he looks healthy. He's going full speed. I love this pick.
Let's start with you, James. You're a big believer in Casey Mize here going to Jacob's team.
I don't know. I was looking at Casey Mize like a while before this pick came. I was laying out my queue, and I actually wound up putting Sheffield above him here, which is if you see the next pick, I go with Justin Sheffield here. Because I'm just filling out the pitching there. I thought about it. It just, I didn't really bite. I don't know. I just didn't get the right feeling there. Sean could probably talk more about stats and the way that the matchup here, but I just didn't get the right feeling here.
I mean,
wow,
as a
yeah.
former like number one pick, we're expecting like these crazy godlike expectations from Casey Mize
I know I was.
that we just might not get, but that's okay. In spring training, though, it's been like two totally different stories where if you look at spring training results, which you really shouldn't that hard at least, he's been terrible. In 10 innings, he's given up 11 earned runs, 4 home runs, only 10 walks and 12 strikeouts. But what we should really glean from his spring training is that his fastball, which was barely like hanging around 93 when he got called up in 2020, he's been consistently sitting about 95, 96. And he's actually, I've watched a few of his starts. He's gotten ahead of hitters. He gives up, he gets ahead of these hitters and he can't put them away. But I'm not really worried about that because he has such a great put away pitch in that splitter.
Yeah.
And he's still young. He still has, pretty limited minor league experience. I think we've put too high of expectations too soon on Casey Mize. This might not be the year to draft in on him, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, same here. I haven't lost hope on him, but who I have lost hope on is Justice Sheffield. I think
I could agree.
he's too. So why'd you pick him, James?
I'm
Sheffield?
look, like Sean was saying, it's like my SP7 here. I mean, I was just looking at. I don't have room in like my minor league slots anymore. I have a lot of like minor leaguers I kept obviously from last year, and I just wanted to go with people that like had a chance of like having any impact in the majors this year that could prove to be helpful down the line. I don't know. I thought it was a good pick based on what was left in the pool here.
No, he's a sneaky pick going into next year. He really started to really figure out that sinker. He ditched the 4-seamer. He's throwing a sinker that he's never really thrown before. Helped him avoid barrels. He still gave it probably more hits than you would like because he is a sinker ball pitcher. But 89th percentile in barrel percentage, still gave him a lot of hard hits, even though he did avoid the barrels, which is kind of a weird line to stay on top of. But he's only 24 years old and he's a lefty. We don't it's generic, but lefties always seem to take longer to develop.
Yeah.
He's always had that great slider. I actually really do like this pick.
Well, I'm just like fatigued. Like we talked about Francisco Mejia, I'm fatigued with Justice Sheffield at this point. So you guys are better at it than I am. But look at all these other guys though, Sean. I got to ask you, Justice Sheffield, Mitch Keller, Robbie Ray, Ryan Yarbrough in this round. Who would you have taken if you needed to take an SP in this spot where James drafted Justice Sheffield?
In terms of SP that was available, let's just look at the guys that went kind of right after him. If I could get there, somebody that I picked, I really liked Kristen Javier. Maybe I pick Javier over Sheffield.
Oh, yeah.
I do pick Javier over Sheffield. Zach Eflin, I would, but I still like the Justice Sheffield pick. It's just there were some better options, but at the tail end of this round, in the 21st round, some kind of boring names go, like you said. Pollock, Ray, Clase, which hurt my heart. I thought he was going to come back to me. You didn't let that happen. I hate you. But I ended up with Robbie Ray, who, of course, fell down some stairs today and is probably going to miss the entire year afterwards. So that's my luck.
Pitchers are falling downstairs.
Somebody's probably pushing him downstairs.
Yeah, did Kirby Yates also fall down the stairs today?
No, it was Ray that fell down the stairs. Yates is the one who had an arm injury that was on the field.
Who is he? Gerald Ford over there? What the hell?
Or Joe Biden?
Joe Biden? Yeah, that's why I brought him up. Yeah.
Wait, is there a difference between falling up the stairs and down the stairs?
Gravity. Gravity. Who? If you guys are in the Pop Culture Life, apparently we canceled John Mayer already. So.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It was very controversial.
Nobody tell Jess Schwartz that.
Oh no, she knows. She knows. Mitch Keller. We talked about Mitch Keller. I guess Sean would not have picked Mitch Keller over Justice Sheffield, but Mario did. Mario did brag about how much he loves Mitch Keller. So
I want to love Mitch Keller so bad because I see Tyler Glasnow 2.0, except he's still in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to get traded.
Yeah, he's pitcher hell right now.
Jorge Soler, that's a really nice pick. I know the DH is kind of have limited potential in this league because lack of eligibility elsewhere. But that's a really solid pick there by Leon's team. AJ Pollock, you're going. Oh, that went to Andrew's team, who just.
I hate that pick.
I don't like it either. I just don't trust the Dodgers. And Pollock is already in his early 30s. So Robbie Ray, you just mentioned him. He fell down the stairs. Then we got to Emmanuel Clase, just some guy from Cleveland who has a 99-mile-per-hour cutter.
Yeah,
take that, Sean.
I think he's actually probably the one most in line to get saves. I think once he establishes himself, because he missed all of the 2020 season due to being suspended. If he had pitched in 2020, James Karinchak's probably going at least 80 picks later, because there's more of he has competition. But a lot of people have forgotten about Clase because he didn't pitch in 2020. And if you forget Clase, do so at your own peril.
Don't trust me. I didn't forget. I did not forget. He was always there all along. In the beginning, it was Clase, and he had the word, and the word was with Clase. Evan Marshall going to another relief pitcher, going to Jets team. He picked one already, right? Oh yeah, he picked. Back-to-back White Sox relief pitchers for Jet over here.
He must get the White Sox in his TV network.
It might be. I mean, I know he lives outside of.
I was right. He's in that area, right?
He lives outside. He's in Wisconsin. He lives outside Milwaukee. Maybe the Cubs and the White Sox region is maybe where what was I gonna say? Maybe those two Chicago teams hold what do you call it? Territorial rights on his region.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a archaic way of looking at things. MLB needs to pick up the pace here. Ryan Yarbrough going to Chick Stick, the long ball. That's Aaron's team, the champion, and Framber Valdez back-to-back left-handed starting pitchers. I guess we like Yarbrough better than Valdez, or do we still like Valdez here, Sean?
We still like Valdez, but the only reason Valdez went this late is because he broke his finger like 2 weeks ago. But since then, he's underwent some miraculous healing, i.e. steroid test this guy for something. Like he's injected something to make his finger feel better. That's all I know. But Valdez, before the injury, was going in right around the top 100, I think. Okay. And with an injury that originally when he was hurt, they said he's going to miss the entire year because he's going to have surgery. But now he's not going to have surgery. So to get him this late is a hell of a deal. And like I said, I need Aaron to stop having such a damn good draft. It's been such a good draft for her. She's the reigning champion, and it makes me mad.
We have to make sure we have to throw out her napkin next time.
Oh no, she'll clutch it really tight. That's the last time you'll ever see of that napkin. I can tell you that much. Raimel Tapia, are we still high on him? Let's start with you, James. You still high on Raimel Tapia, or are we a little fatigued at this point?
I don't know. I'm grown a little weary of Colorado outfielders recently. Based on we had Dahl, who was a guy I was kind of high on a couple of years ago. It's just, I don't know. I'm not feeling much development out of Colorado. It's not a pick that I really would have gone with. I'm not really too sure.
Sean, we got to dedicate a whole episode as to what the hell's wrong with Colorado and their lack of player development.
Did you see the report from The Athletic that they were paying? They gave their front office staff pay cuts, but in the same breath that they gave them pay cuts, they were making them take on second jobs as clubhouse attendants.
Oh my God, that's tacky.
During the 2020 season, yeah. But in terms of Raimel Tapia, we're talking about a guy who is leading off for Colorado. Mm-hmm. Good. Over the last 2 seasons is batting .289, also good. Although we're not going to put too much weight on batting average because his on base is not even .330, but we're going to overlook it. He has 17 stolen bases over the last 2 years. This late in the draft, a guy who could hit 300. I mean, he hit 321 in the short 2020 season. He has more speed than I think people give him credit for. I'd like the pick.
Moving on to
one of the few Jet picks I actually liked.
That's right. I just noticed that. Moving on to the next pick, I got Jordan Montgomery here. What did I like about him? Oh yeah,
you had him again last night too.
And I had him in the Mardi Gras league as well. So kind of desperate here for pitching, and I see that he's healthy. He has a rotation spot secure. He had a pretty good season last year and the season before that. So I'm all in. I'm sorry, when I say the season before that, I just noticed that he only pitched 4 innings because of Tommy John surgery in 2019. But all I saw was 11.25 K per 9, so I'm all in on that. He's not getting that. He's not getting double digits K per 9. But
I remember when Yankee fans were putting him in trade offers for Noah Syndergaard a couple of years back.
Yeah, that was awkward.
Give us Jacob deGrom.
So that's how much I like Jordan Montgomery, because I also like Christian Javier, and I went with Montgomery anyway. I know you talked about Javier all the time. I know how much you like him, Sean. Any last words? Just a quick sentence on Javier if you want.
He's just so sneaky good that nobody's ever talked about him. And it's like you look at his minor league numbers and it's just otherworldly.
Yeah.
He doesn't give up home runs, but he gives up nothing but fly balls. He doesn't throw hard, but he gets a lot of strikeouts up in the zone.
Mhm.
He's a Houston pitcher. He is.
That's all I gotta
They've
say.
designed him in a lab. That's my theory.
Tommy Pham going to Andrew's team, who just left us. I like that pick a lot. Again, a lot of these left fielders are just dropping in stock here because
Especially if
left
Trent
fields-
Grisham misses the first few weeks of the season and Pham ends up as the leadoff hitter, that could be a steal of the draft.
Yeah, that's a really good pick. Kyle Gibson going to Leon's team. Any takers for Kyle Gibson? We still believe in him, or
No.
what? Okay, let's
No.
move on. Michael Lorenzen, you can know that Mario really likes him because he must have really never too early on Michael Lorenzen here.
If only he could hit in the league.
Hey, he's a pitcher. If he starts, he bats ninth, right? So it's not a bad pick. I don't know. There's some. I just compared to the other relievers that might have been available in this late in the draft, because there's a lot of relievers who can get you some holds.
Completely unbiased here with how much I love TJ Antone. If TJ Antone went where he went and Lorenzen goes this far behind him, when their outcomes seem somewhat similar, in which you're either looking at a slightly above average starter or a very good relief pitcher, like that seems like value compared to TJ Antone where he went.
And then Lorenzen is listed as a SP number 4 for the Reds, as I guess he's part of the committee.
That's a whole thing to do with Sonny Gray and
Sonny
Wade Miley
Gray,
being injured. Yeah.
Otherwise, his what do you call it? His projections have not changed since he got moved up there. So Christian Walker. Oh, there we are. James, Christian Walker, Texas Ranger. You like him a lot, I see, huh?
Yeah, I like Walker. I had him last year. He was a little, he wasn't, huge for me last year. I know last year was kind of a blur with the Yelich having such a horrible year. I kind of wanted to forget my fantasy year last year, but I like Walker. I think he's a guy who could just be like sneaky good. And I think where I got him here, like having him as like a backup, like, CI for my team this year, I'm glad with this pick. I'm happy.
He's in my mind Garrett Cooper with stolen base potential, because a lot of people sleep that in 2019 when he played 152 games, he had right under 30 home runs, 825 OPS, and 8 stolen bases, which I think probably had to lead all first basemen. So sleepy candidate, it like you said, it's a good corner infield play here. I probably should have picked him over JD Davis.
Christian Walker Bueller. Jesse Winker, that's a guy I like, but I couldn't justify it this year. He goes to Jacob's team. Colton Wong, former Cardinal, going to the Cardinals fan.
Hit him yesterday.
Yeah. He just
Henry. Why would you pick it? Why would you make this pick?
Going to say that Mike Harvey couldn't help himself getting the ex-Cardinal. But yeah, I think the reason Henry went with Martin Maldonado is because that might be his cousin.
I was about to say you might be better off just playing one catcher.
No, Jesus. Jan Gomes, back-to-back catchers going here, as Matthew Whelan probably saw that Henry picked his brother and he wanted a catcher too, so he picked the catcher. He then turns around and for the 23rd round gets Spencer Turnbull. And Spencer Turnbull. Yeah, I know you do. I don't know about this year though. I think last year was his as good as it gets for him. But David Price, Zach Eflin. So a lot of greatest hits here. You got Turnbull, Price, Eflin, a few veteran pitchers here who at one point had some high value to them, and now they're falling to the 23rd round of this draft. So that's pretty interesting how the mighty have fallen. But I think Eflin's thing is that he's hurt. He has a back injury. So
is he hurt? I did not know he was hurt.
That's why I avoided him. That's why I went with Jordan Montgomery instead of Eflin, even though I think I had Eflin rated
higher.
Gotcha. Way higher. I think top 50 for me. But I saw that he had a back injury. I'm like, no, I need healthy bodies out there. I really do. So, yep, 50 overall starting pitcher. Heimer Candelario, we talked about him a little bit the other day.
He's going too late in drafts. I've noticed that.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it could be like 2020 was just a mirage, and then he's going exactly where he should be. But when you look at his track record in the minors, and the fact that, I feel like he's actually solidified himself as a major leaguer. I think he's a good hitter. I don't think he's a great hitter. I think he's a good hitter, and he has everyday plate appearances at the top of a lineup, albeit a bad lineup, but still plate appearances at the top of a lineup.
Yeah, he's part of that whole Cub system back when they were actually able to develop some players in their farm system.
So, according to RotoWires, Eflin is expected to be ready to pitch the third game of the season.
Okay, that's good. I just freak out when I see back injury, and I just can't do it. Leody Taveras is, James, I had him top of my queue, hoping that I can get him on the return after getting, who the hell did I get last time? Jordan Montgomery, right, Sean? And I was really hoping to get him, and you took him away from me. Obviously, you like the stolen base potential there.
Yeah, I think my main thing was center field is just one of those positions where it's like you either have a guy that's like Springer, or you have someone who's like Kevin Pillar, who's like, what are you going to get from him really in a fantasy league, outbate last year. But I wanted to fill out center field. This is where I started noticing like what positions am I really, if something happens, who am I going to have to back him up? And I just thought Taveras with his stolen base potential, I know Sean doesn't like him as a hitter here, but I think he's got potential, and it was a good pick for me in the fact that George Springer just got a grade 2 oblique strain. So I don't know, he's day to day, but just in case, I'm glad I have center field to back him up, I guess.
Now this is going to be really awkward because last night, I was able to roast some people and I didn't even have to say anything to their face. And as James said, I am not big on Leody Taveras. This is a guy who, wait for it, had a sub 700 OPS in the minors.
Yeah.
Sub 700. That's not good. If you're sub 700 in the majors, you're not a starter unless you steal crazy amounts of bases or are a crazy good defender. Taveras, I'm not even sure it's either of those. He stole 100 or 180. No, I can't even count. 89 stolen bases and 470 games. His stolen base percentage was right at 70%, which is teetering on the brink of whether you get a full-time green light. This is fool's gold once again. I can't remember who was fool's gold last night, but Leody Taveras is fool's gold tonight.
It's the 23rd round, man. Give him a break.
No, he's bad.
All right, I needed center field depth. Who do you think I should go with here?
If you want stolen bases,
it's not about stolen bases.
Was Austin Hayes? If you want a center fielder, Austin Hayes. Hell, I'd pick Roman Quinn or Cedric Mullins over Leody Taveras.
He's overreacting.
I don't know.
Taveras, Mullins, and Quinn are the same player.
Get out of here.
They were the same player.
I see Texas. I see like a rebuilding team, a young player, possible upside there. I just thought that was a pick to go with. He's going to get more at bats than most of the young guys this year.
I'll give him the fact he has the prospect pedigree, and I'll tone it down.
It's the only reason to get him is because of all those reasons: stolen bases, prospect pedigree, ATC 23 stolen bases, steamer projections 20 stolen bases, zips 27 stolen bases. That alone is enough reason to get Leody Taveras, and I really wanted him, and James was too smart for it. So, Chris Martin,
better than VR.
I think that's because Mario got Michael Lorenzen. Now he gets Chris Martin. So, at this point, Sean, I think any relief pitcher that you select this late in the draft, unless it's noticeably bad, it's a good pick at this point.
Did Mario have Will Smith earlier in the draft? I'm trying to remember because that could be a good handcuff. But aside from Chris Martin, who's a relatively boring pick,
Henry got Will Smith.
Okay, gotcha. Right after him goes Steven Matz, who a change of scenery might be the greatest thing he's ever seen in his life. Without looking too far into 3 spring training starts, a 12 strikeout to 0 walk performance. I watched a couple of his starts, and he's always a guy who's had natural sink and tail on his fastball. For a lefty, he's always thrown very hard, sitting 94, 93, touching 95, 96 regularly. He was throwing 94 with what looked like relatively straight rising movement up in the zone consistently to get swinging strikes. And he was always a guy who always just seemed like a tweak away because, top, prospect coming up through the minors. I actually really like that pick, especially when you look at some of Toronto's other options like checks notes, Tanner Roark. Like what? Of course I'm going to pick Steven Matz over Tanner Roark.
Tanner Roark reminds me of a black sheep, a scene from the movie Black Sheep. It's a funny name, Roark. Stephen Matz. So yeah, you talked about him. Gary Hampson, we mentioned him earlier. With the Rockies, I never know what to make of them, other players. So I'm gonna skip that pick. Joe Adele. I see that Angel fans are giving up on him this past week, but
He's in my minor league slot now.
Yeah, there you go. Sean's not giving up on him anytime soon. That got Trevor May. So I lied. I did get a Mets player in the form of Trevor May. I like them in Minnesota. I like him not even more, but just as much in New York. Pitching behind, looks like he's going to be setting up Edwin Diaz. So I'm okay with that. Jonathan Villar, is he starting? I thought there was no room for him.
No, he's not starting.
Okay, so,
He's just going to be the next Lagares, just coming out to run every now and then in my eyes.
I think too many people are expecting him to actually get 300 plate appearances. And if that happens, something is going terribly wrong for the Mets.
Let's see here. Jonathan Villar, according to Fangraphs depth charts, 294 plate appearances. So
that's not going to happen.
I think Luis Fiorme gets more at bats or plate appearances than him. He has to. He's a better player.
And of course, I got to preface this by saying because Jet also gets Adam Duvall in the 24th round because this is the semi-back-to-back picks. We bashed him last year in his draft. He made it to the final, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But so far, once again, I'm not liking a lot of these picks by Jet. I'm sorry.
Hey, Adam Duvall got a guaranteed contract from the Marlins, which is like probably one of 4 contracts on the entire team. So, and he's shown really good power with the Braves the last year and a half. If anything, he's just easy power.
Speaking of the Marlins, Anthony Bass going to Aaron Zook, so she's buying in on that. What do you call it? Closer
former
potential.
Toronto reliever and current Toronto reliever.
Oh, so there, you know what? There's a lot of that going on in this draft. A lot of players who no longer play on your favorite team getting drafted by those fans. So that's pretty funny. You can't let go.
Yimi Garcia is still better than Anthony Bass and should be the closer, and I will believe that till I die.
I was about to say that, yeah. Andrew McCutchen also going to Aaron there as she solidifies her outfield.
Aaron has 2 bad picks. It only took till the 24th round.
Yeah, well, like you said, this is championship rounds here. This is where things are won or lost.
Speaking of championships, look at my 2 next picks. Well, I'll just be quiet till my 2 next picks.
We got to talk about Tariq Skubal. Oh, actually, we did talk about him. But yeah, Tariq Skubal, for those who don't know, one of the big 3 prospects for the Tigers that we talked about, Casey Mize. We actually have the guy who owns Matt Manning on the call here. And Tariq Skubal, the big 3 of the Detroit Tigers pitching rotation future of America. Chris Sale going, oh God, Chris Sale. 30-year-old with Tommy John surgery. You're excited, I see, huh?
He's going to be the best trade that I never have to make halfway through the year. And when you pair him with the guy that I picked next, anyone who looks at my starting pitching and says, Sean, why didn't you pick a starting pitcher in the first 3 or 4 rounds? Why not? Because I knew I could get Chris Sale this late. Even though James picked Noah Syndergaard like in the top 75, and that really got me worried because I was targeting these guys from the very beginning. And I was like, holy shit, if James picks Syndergaard that early, these guys are going to go like well inside the top 200. But they fell, and I felt really good about it.
I like the Sale pick. I think the main thing, one of my draft strategies is to, the second the draft is over, target injured players, pick them up with like an open bench spot, throw them on the injured list. They come back, they start doing well. You have a steal. But if they come back, they do bad. You pick them 280th in the draft. Is it really going to hurt you that much that you wasted that pick on Sale?
Thank you. And I did love your Syndergaard pick. I thought it was a reach, but it's a reach that I 100% would have done myself. So I can't even hate on it. So, yeah. But like Chris Sale at 280 and another future possible ace that I picked in the next round. If those guys come back and are even like 80%, I could very well keep them with increased keepers next year. And I already have 2 good ace level starters. That was the whole plan here. The next 2 picks were less for this year and more so for next year.
Yeah, my plan was to at least get one of Severino, Syndergaard, or Sale. That failed for me. Or get one of the 7 DH. One of the 7 DHs.
You said the name.
Well, hold on. While we're on subject here, that was part of my strategy. I got to draft one of those 3 injured guys, those big 3 injured guys, and I failed miserably in getting them. Or I can get one of those 7 designated hitters. Since that was part of the plan. And I failed miserably in getting one of those 7 designated hitters. I couldn't do it. I just thought you had to field for my team to be on my team. So We'll see if that hurts me or not. But let's move on to the next. Hector Neris. You know what, James? I want to hear from you. You're a Mets fan, so the Phillies are a big rival. How hard do you laugh every time you see Hector Neris or any Phillies bullpen guy out there?
It's even funnier that it's Neris because as a Met fan, we have to look at the numbers of Mets versus Neris because no matter what team this guy is on, every time he comes out, he blows a save. Against I know Sean's looking at it right now. I can see his face. He's going through Fantrax.
A baseball reference, but you're close. Oh my god, that was hilarious.
And it's because I mean that's biased because it's the Mets that are doing it to him, but I just don't trust Neris at all. I mean it's 281st in the draft. If he does anything, it's an okay pick, but Neris is just to me he's not to be trusted.
And then Leon gets Jose Alvarado, so he's like, "All right, I'll see your Hector Neris, and I'll go with Jose Alvarado." Another Phillies guy.
I hate to interrupt because I would pick Alvarado over Neris, but in 42 games, this isn't a small sample size. It's the most he's pitched against anyone. 42 games, he has a 5.5 ERA versus the Mets. I mean, the Mets have just been his daddy. Blown saves. How many we're looking at? 8 saves, but it's not giving me the save opportunities, unfortunately. So I'd have to look a little bit closer. But yeah, he's just been, and it's funny because he's one of those guys. He has a great splitter, but sometimes they lose it, and I think he's just someone who consistently loses it. At least he's doing something consistently.
Other than tilt his hat sideways.
Yeah. And apparently, I forgot that Andrew, he's mentioning, well, I also have Archie Bradley. So what, you're banking on a Phillies bullpen? Come on, man. I expect
these Mets fans should know better.
I expect more from Andrew. Come on, Andrew. You let me down. You call yourself Irish. Stefan Crichton. I know he wrote a good book in the 90s. No, he didn't. But we're seeing back-to-back relief pitchers going here. Mario must have really loved them to roll the dice with him.
He's battling out. He had the closer job at the end of 2020 with Arizona. Arizona likes him, but then Arizona obviously doesn't like him enough. They went out and signed Joaquin Soria. So it's a bit of a competition, possible committee situation there.
And if anything, he'll get the holds.
Yeah.
So whatever. Ha-Sung Kim. Okay, James. Something that we talk about on this podcast is we love the Padres as a real team, but in terms of fantasy, they are very frustrating because of all the playing time that needs to be dispersed evenly. What makes you believe that Ha-Sung Kim is going to be productive for your team this year?
Well, I mean, he's on my bench. It was just more of a pick. Like I need middle infield. Once again, we've talked about this many times. Middle infield is just very thin at this late in the draft specifically. And, you know, he's got a lot of upside. The main issue is just the play time. But I was reading a lot before I made this pick. I think it took me a little while to make this pick. Yeah, like 2 minutes. I was just reading up. It looks like he's kind of got the edge at second base a little bit. But I mean, if he does anything this year and he's on my bench, like if I could throw him in and have him do anything for me, I'm fine with that. I think he's got a lot of upside. And if he does, I'm just looking for him to do anything for me. It's not really, you know, if he has a bad year, doesn't get a lot of playing time, it doesn't really hurt me this late in the draft.
Okay, well, that's a good explanation. I mean, I like the kid. I just don't like his situation, bottom line. But, you know, if he were in a better situation, he would have been drafted a long time ago, not in the 24th round. So yeah, it's a really good point there. Brady Singer going in to Jacob's team, who was with us for a little bit. We talked about Brady Singer last night, and I don't like him. I think Sean likes him. I forgot which one it was.
He's not my favorite of the Kansas City arms, but I do like all of them.
And drafting Cardinals player number 36 is Mike Harvey. Jeez, this is becoming a running gag. And just to make sure that he doesn't lose out on Daniel Ponce de Leon, Henry picks him up immediately afterwards because he knows he will lose him to the Cardinals fan. And Matthew Whelan picking up a favorite of his, Andrelton Simmons. He is an Angels fan.
It's funny because didn't he also pick? Oh no, that was Suter, a Jet that picked Jose Iglesias. So never mind.
There you go.
I was gonna say if you have Simmons and Iglesias, I don't know what the hell you're smoking.
Victor Reyes, I think he's one of the few guys who actually qualifies in both in all three outfield split positions there. But is he worth bragging about? You know, Sean?
Not really.
I don't see it. Okay.
Nobody in that Detroit outfield aside from Robbie Grossman, who I would have picked over Victor Reyes, but that's it.
Yeah, one thing I will say though, I looked at Victor Reyes myself around this part of the draft. He was the only player that played at least two of like outfield positions that was like even worth a pick at this late. So I could see why, but I wouldn't have gone for it myself as I passed him as well.
I have to see Whelan's team. We got to make sure to look at Whelan's team because he had the first pick overall. He earned that right to be number 1 overall. But let's face it, Sean, we've been over every time we mention his name or his team, we've been kind of underwhelmed by it. So we got to. I'm kind of curious to see what
Victor Reyes is 6'5". If we want to spout out random facts, I did not know he was that tall. That is I always thought he was a smaller guy, but 6'5". Okay, I'm looking up to you, Victor Reyes.
Maybe he can help the Lions this year.
Yeah.
Domingo Herman, we mentioned him already. Sunday German, Henry. He picks his Yankee.
If
player,
Sunday German is so good, then how come Eduardo Rodriguez went like 12 rounds before him?
Well, Henry is gonna put his money where his mouth is. He's gonna go after Herman, and he's gonna ride him until he can't ride him no more, as little Nas X would say. Evan White going to see again. Mike, he does live in the Washington area, Washington State, not Washington D.C. So he keeps an eye on the Mariners, and of course he gets Evan White as well. So I'm beginning to think that whoever he watches on television, that's who he's gonna draft in this place. Tyler Rogers, and I freaked out here, Sean. I thought, wait a minute, how did Jacob pick my guy Rogers? And I remember, no, I got Taylor. He got Tyler. We talk about the brother Rogers all the time. And
wouldn't that have been a hell of a slip up by you if you had picked the wrong Rogers?
I mean,
that's like picking the San Francisco Giants Wander Franco in a draft and thinking you made out like a bandit.
Michael Franco.
No. There's literally a Wander Franco
right.
in the Giants system, and he has a crazy high ADP. Because people draft him thinking that they're drafting the Wander Franco.
Is he related?
He's like Wander A Franco. I don't think there's no relation at all.
No, because I remember that that was a joke. Is that Wander Franco has a brother whose name is Wander and his father's Wander? It's like a George Foreman thing.
I think there is it might be the Wander Javier in the Minnesota system, if anything. I'm not 100% sure there. That's complete speculation.
Here we go. According to Wikipedia, his brothers both also named Wander, played in Houston and San Francisco. His father Wander Sr. But played past tense, so I don't know what the deal is.
Okay.
Never mind. But hey, if you guys know if that's the same guy, I would like to know. Let us know in the comment section if you know for sure. But yeah, Tyler Rogers, we all know that he's a submarine pitcher, so I did not even have him on my list. That's how much I like Taylor Rogers. I made sure not to add Tyler Rogers on my list. My list of 70 million pitchers there. Jurickson Profar. Okay. So back-to-back Padres. James, you're losing me a little bit here. It's one thing to get one guy from the Padres, but you got 2 guys from the Padres. What's up there?
I'll explain myself. These were all, once again, bench picks. It's just I'm trying to cover the positions that I feel like I'm weak at. And it came out that Profar might actually be starting the season as center field. Due to some like injuries that are going on. So if he could even get eligible for center field, like he already plays second base, left field, I could put him out in left. I could put him at middle infield. I could put him at second. If he gets center field also, that's just a plus, but he's a bench piece that has upside. So once again, if he could do anything for me, like I'm fine with that. I just need to be able to cover my positions at this point.
Quick draft. Felipe, Profar debuted in 2012. How old is he now?
He should be 28 years old.
Oh, you cheater.
Come on, man.
I'm just going to assume he cheated. That was too good. He is 28 years old.
I mean, I'll show you my spreadsheet here. My colorful spreadsheet.
Hey, I didn't even offer you money. Come on now.
Let's see here. Profar. There he is, 28 years old. That's where I have him. Bam, right there. 28 years old. Sorry for those guys watching on their phones. I didn't blow that up there, but
I know you have to say that a lot of times. Sorry if you're looking at your phone, so you got to blow it up.
But I just wanted to point out that I do my homework, and I show my work. Danny Jansen.
You get partial credit.
I get all the credit, brother. Get all the credit. Danny Jansen going. So this is interesting. This is one of the first times where I've seen Danny Jansen going ahead. Alejandro Kirk going way ahead of Danny Jansen. So.
Yeah, I did almost pick Jansen as a handcuff to Kirk, and then I realized I would have 4 catchers in my roster, and that was not going to happen.
Back-to-back catchers here. Kurt Suzuki. Okay, so Leon, Nationals fan, picks a former Nationals player. Once again, the former player for someone's fan base is getting them on their team. So a little bit of I'm ready to just count those as homer picks, Sean. So Suzuki. Okay, so Michael Pineda, Andrew O'Sullivan talked about him on the show. You already talked about Luis Severino. You're excited to get 2 guys who are injured on your IL slot. So it's pretty damn good on your part.
I love filling up that IL early. and having zero flexibility when one of my starters actually gets injured.
Well, there's plenty of pitchers still available out there, man. So good luck with that.
You'll see my starting pitcher picks even later than this. That you might want to be calling me when that happens, Sean.
Hey, I will.
Brian Anderson, I went with him because for a
Great
while,
pick. That's a great pick,
bro. A long time, he was at the top of my queue, and I kept saying to myself, "Well, I need to fill out other areas on my team. I could wait a little long. I must have waited like 5 rounds for Brian Anderson, and I finally said, enough's enough. I got to get him right here."
Yeah, this is the Mitch Haniger pick, but the light version of it.
Brian Anderson is my 17th best third baseman. At that point, he was by all means the best hitter on the squad there. So I'm excited to have him on my team this late in the draft. Matt Barnes, we talked about him last night. I like him. You're kind of questioning that, but
he's the dog spitting the pill out.
Well, either that or he gets the cheap saves for the Red Sox. So we'll see. Asdrubal Cabrera, I know that's a personal favorite of you two guys over there in New York Mets land, and Randall Grichuk. So a couple of, for those who don't know, who are not privy to the baseball life kind of culturism or whatever, Asdrubal Cabrera with the Mets fans, they love him. They love him so much they call him Asdrubal. And Randall Grichuk.
I'm actually not a big fan, actually.
Yeah, there are a lot of Mets fans hate Asdrubal, especially after his whole, the Mets had told him that they were going to extend his contract. And then they didn't. And then he asked for a trade. And then the media came up to him. He never said anything to the media initially that he had asked for a trade. But the media said, would you, be interested in a trade? And he said, yeah, I've actually asked for one. And the media, typical New York fashion, lost their ever-living minds. And I mean, he was a great teammate. In the last 2 years, he's been kind of sneaky in deeper leagues or daily leagues, which is really where I've used him in a 30-team daily league I'm in. He has absolutely crushed left-handed pitching. It's very easy to find him in some sort of platoon in Arizona, possibly with Josh Rojas at second.
Yeah.
So is Wilmer still there?
Wilmer's in San Francisco. Yeah.
San Francisco, right. I forgot.
And the other guy I wanted to mention here, Randall Grichuk, who's has gotten some legendary status in our group for some reason. I'm convinced
he's the greatest of all time, according to Brett, right?
Brett, yeah. And that's a running gag more than anything. That's more of a dig on Cardinals fans who thought he was the greatest thing ever when he was with the Cardinals.
And now he doesn't even have a starting job. Yeah.
And they're still projecting 30 homers out of him too, without a starting job.
Well,
it's basically him or Rowdy Tellez at DH right now. It's George
Springer's hurt, isn't he? So maybe he'll get some cheap at bats there.
You're right there. They probably had that built in the projection that George Springer's going to play like 80 games.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? So yeah, I know in another group I was in, I think Matt Stairs was the legendary player that gained legendary status. So
Adam Lind was my goat.
Oh God. No, I won't say anything. Okay, Brent Suter. Actually, he goes to Suter's Veloraptors. So Jet gets his guy, his namesake. So good for him. I actually like Brent Suter a lot in this league format. So good job on him.
Wait. So you like Brent Suter, but you don't like Kyle Hendricks. Riddle me this.
I was just. It's all relative, man. It's all relative. It's all relative.
Getting to the moon, it was all relative,
Yeah. You can't compare that. So you can't compare that to the discovery of penicillin when you're talking about the moon. So, but no, Brent Suter in this format, I think he's good. I mean, listen, any Brewers reliever is a good pick as far as I'm concerned. You know how much I like the Brewers bullpen and the pitching staff there. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
AJ Puke. At this point of the draft, I'm just looking for whatever upside and whatever potential I could find at the pitching slot, the starting pitcher rotation. AJ Puke was a highly touted prospect at one point of his life. I know he was hurt a bit. Looks like he's healthy.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to be nice here. And then Ahmet Rosario going to your team for some reason. Go ahead.
Center field eligibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which ironically, I ended up picking another center fielder in the 27th round, just in case Rosie doesn't work out.
All right. Joey Votto going to Andrew O'Sullivan. James, is there still some hope for Joey Votto this year?
It's actually funny. Me and Andrew used to talk about Votto. We both had a lot of, we always felt like Votto could still be like, this great first baseman. I think at 305 in this draft, I think that's a decent pick. If he, if he does anything Votto like this year, I think that's a good pick at 305, round 26,
Yeah, well, that's the Miami pick, 305.
I mean, he posted almost 350 WOBA with an expected WOBA of like 370, which isn't the greatest, but for a 37-year-old and this late in the draft, I mean, as a complete dart throw, if you punted first base or as a bench slot for corner infield, like, especially in a league like ours where, walks, strikeouts, and all that stuff actually matters, that's huge. I actually love this pick.
I mean, yeah, but CJ Cron's also available. I'm seeing right there.
Oh,
going a
okay. Yeah,
little
I
bit
mean,
later, so-
those two, CJ Crone should have gone earlier, but that was a
Yeah.
whole different story.
But we'll see. If anything, that's just an extra bench space for Andrew in the future there. Bruce Stark, Gradle. I'm also disappointed you guys did not catch my Pitbull reference.
Took me a second.
Thank you. Bruce Stark, Gradle. Sean, this projections don't like him as much as I don't know. I feel like he's a bigger than life personality at this point, but for some reason the projections don't like him. Obviously he went super late here. Leon, it benefits from there, but what's up with Bruce Stark Gatterall, and why is he going so late and not being liked by projection systems?
His fantasy relevance is tied to two guys that a lot of projections actually like losing their jobs. And if you're projected to do really well and another player is based on those two guys losing their jobs, then obviously the projections probably won't like you. Gratterall needs either Jansen or Trinan to absolutely fall flat on their face. And if neither of those guys fall flat on their face, then Gratterall's just eating middle innings, maybe as an opener when they send somebody to the Phantom IL. It's just, I don't see, he's a good pitcher. He's the closer in waiting. I don't see what he does for you this year.
But even in this league, in this format, with the holds being available, and
I just think they have other options. I think the main hold guys in that bullpen will be Victor Gonzalez and Blake Trinan.
That's true.
A lefty and a righty. I think Gratterall is going to be an opener or those really early outings in which maybe he vultures some wins. Like, that's the only way I really see him being relevant.
And I see that James wants to get in, but I just want to mention that the only projection system that has Gratterall over 10 strikeouts per 9 innings is Steamer projections. James, do you have anything to add there?
Not necessarily. I'm waiting for my pick here coming up.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were. Okay, so you're just
I'm just nodding along.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were gonna. Okay, I thought you want to jump in on Gratterall. Okay, never mind. Helio Ramos going to Margola Sima. That's one of the guys that we picked in our prospect preview, so to speak. There, Sean. He was my pick. Remember, this is the guy that lost speed as a center fielder. We don't know how. We don't know why. But he's been kind of falling. His prospect stock has just taken a dip.
I mean, the power is legit. I don't think he's a center fielder, and the hit tool is questionable. But to round out your point about Gratterall, I know I hate going backwards, but like you said, I don't think he is a 10 strikeout per inning guy. I think he'd be lucky to be a 9. Both him and Dustin May, they are elite in fastball velocity, and Gratterall especially was in the first in whiff percentage. So even though he's throwing crazy hard, 100th percentile in velocity, it sinks into bats, which does avoid barrels, but it doesn't miss bats. And I think that's kind of an issue that Gratterall is going to run into throughout his career.
Austin, the Angels fan who usually chimes in Sunday mornings, he's actually up this late. It must be past his bedtime. Actually, no, it's early in the West Coast still, relatively speaking. He wants to add that I don't like Gratterall. He's got high velo, but is a ground ball pitcher with a low whiff percentage. Makes no sense. Plus, he doesn't throw with his legs. Arm injury incoming. But what I really wanted to say, I wanted to read this quote from Austin as well. We teachers appreciate showing your work. So somebody appreciates my work. Suck it, Sean.
Pat yourself on the back, Felipe.
I don't have to. People do it for me. Sean Manea. Here we go. So, James, interesting story. I don't know if you caught last night's episode, but I ended up being stuck with Sean Manea just because pitchers kind of went dry in my other league. But I'm assuming that you actually like him a lot more than I do. What's up with that?
I mean, if you say like him a lot more than you do, being my last starting pitcher pick that I made this draft, being that everybody before him is Fried, May, Nola, Sheffield, it was just like, I saw him there. It was just like, what happens if I lose another starting pitcher and I have someone like him there to like back it up, it could be good for me in the end. Maybe he's a trade piece later on in the year. Someone really needs like end of the line pitching or something. It was just filling out the roster pick for me. And I thought he went a little late. I think his ADP was like a lot sooner, like in the early 200s. And I was like, you know what, maybe let me just snag him here. You know, it was more of a best available type thing for me.
I'll admit I lost track that this is the 26th round. So yeah, you're right. This is late. We're almost done here, folks. We just got one more round to go. But I'm in the same boat. I was just trying to fill out my roster in my other points league, and it's a smaller roster size, but still just trying my best to fill out the roster. Carter Keeboom going to Jacob's team. I think we talked about him, Sean, before. We still have any hope for this guy? Or are we done
A
with
lot
him?
of people do. I
Okay.
loved him as a prospect.
Yeah,
I
same.
just think he falls into that Keston Hura, Kyle Lewis,
Oh,
in
jeez.
which that he's exposed by major league velocity.
CJ Cron, we talked about how much of a hell of a pick that is. That's probably my favorite Mike Harvey pick in this draft, CJ Cron. And it's one of the few non-Cardinals, non-Mariners pick that he made here in this draft. Bobby Bradley.
He is a bopper. Oh
Yeah.
my God. He is like Daniel Vogelbach 2.0.
Jeez.
In 650 games, he has almost 150 home runs. He's had a really solid spring, batting 320. A name that people were probably introduced to during the COVID season, in which we watched a lot of KBO. But Roberto Ramos, he used to be in the Colorado system, big power, big lefty bat. Ended up getting released by Colorado, and he signed in the KBO. He had a bunch of home runs. Bobby Bradley's kind of that same deal. He's with the spring training he's had, he might have an inside track to that first base job. It's basically him versus Jake Bowers, former Rays top prospect. But Bradley has potential 40 home run power, and it should not be slept on.
Brandon Marsh goes to Matthew Whelan's team, so that's kind of a homer pick. I don't know if you paid attention to when Whelan made that pick. He immediately goes into the Baseball Life Facebook group and says and declares that Brandon Marsh will be better than Joe Adell.
I noticed that too.
I'm like, all right, Matthew, you need to go to sleep already. Come on.
And then forgot to make the next pick
No.
until the next day. He
Yeah,
was too
how do
busy
you have
making the
back-to-back
Facebook post.
How do you have back-to-back picks and you do that?
He was so jacked up about getting Brandon Marsh that he forgot to make his second pick. on
I'm
the
so
back-to-back.
jacked up on Brandon Marsh.
Yeah, I need to share this in the Baseball Life group. I'm gonna be right. I'm gonna be at the bottom floor of the Brandon Marsh bandwagon building, whatever. And then 12 hours later, he makes the second pick. So, or about 8-10 hours maybe. Anyway, Josh Young. I know who he is. Okay, it took me a while. Yeah, third baseman out of the Texas Rangers. So that's a decent.
I think
prospect
I
stash.
believe he has a stress fracture, so he's going to be injured for most of the beginning of the year. So
Josh Young. I don't even
Yeah.
expect him to be called up.
yeah, I mean he wasn't going to be called up, but if you're stashing him in your minor slot, he's going to miss some development time compared to what he already missed in 2020.
Yeah, 23-year-old. Last time he played, he was in single A baseball. So, Dylan Cease going to Henry. We're in the last round, guys. We're almost done. 27th round. Dylan Cease going to Henry's team. I talked about him last night. I talked about him all offseason long. I don't want no part of him, even though he does play for the White Sox. It's one of the reasons why I don't believe in the White Sox so much anymore for 2021. But Henry believes in him, so we'll see. He's still young. He still has some stuff. Rafael
Montero.
Oh,
A name that will make Mets fans hurl.
But look who picked him once again. Another Mike Harvey, closet Mariners fan. Because
You see, the funniest thing about everything is that when Montero was called up, another guy was called up right behind him to start the game after him by the name of Jacob deGrom. And nobody cared about the deGrom start. We all cared about Rafael Montero debuting against the Yankees. And we all know how that went. So
Yeah. Who cares about the former shortstop that is now almost 3 years in a row Cy Young if it wasn't for a man named Bauer.
Well, Montero will be looks like he's still penciled in as the closer, so some cheap saves while he can get him at that point. Mauricio Dubon, I believe he is the prospect, right? For the Giants.
He's a starter. He is
already
playing.
started? Okay.
Yeah, he's played somewhere.
Who am I
Second
thinking
base,
of?
shortstop, center field. He's going to play everywhere for the Giants. And he's always had the really good bat to ball skills. And so far in the offseason, he's really worked on swinging at good pitches and laying off pitches that he probably could make contact with and driving the ball. I really like him. I think he's a sneaky 2020 guy, especially this late in the draft. I'd pick Mauricio Dubon way over Dylan Moore, way over.
And apologies, I was confusing Mauricio Dubon with Marco Luciano, so my bad. Marco Luciano.
Luciano's
Fangraphs,
way away.
yeah, way, but number 11 on the Fangraphs prospect list. So Tom Murphy, remember we talked about him? I confused him with Sean Murphy, and I was worried about Sean Murphy, but it turns out Tom Murphy's the one who's losing plate appearances. And it looks like James didn't get the memo, or what's up? Why are you?
I
picking
mean,
Tom
this
Murphy?
is the last pick of the draft. I just needed an extra catcher just in case, something happens to Garver or
But
Navarez.
why not to handcuff him with Ryan Jeffers or even Kyber Ruiz, who's a prospect for the Dodgers?
I mean,
I don't
right now
know.
Murphy's expected to start for the Mariners.
Yeah, and I mean he has power. They're putting him at 17 on the year, the 17 homers that is. I don't know. I feel like Seattle is just one of those teams where it's just like there's gonna be so many guys getting at bats, and I just feel like he's gonna get like at bats here and there. Where if anything happens to like Garver or Narvaez, I could just throw him in there and he'll get a couple games in that week or something. It's just my 27th pick. I was like, what am I gonna do with this? I might as well get a catcher, and I see more from him than some of the other guys that were left.
You could
I
have
can't
gone.
remember what happened with Murphy in 2020. I'm not sure if it was injury, COVID, opt out, whatever. But he had a 126 WRC plus with 18 homers in 75, 76 games.
According
Yeah.
to depth charts projections, and I swear to God, about a month or maybe even 3 weeks ago, Tom Murphy and Luis Torrens were almost 50-50. As of we stand now in almost late March, Murphy's supposed to be getting 322 plate appearances. I'm sorry, 369 plate appearances, and Torrens is about to get 294 plate appearances. So it's starting to go Murphy's way, little by little. Kyber Ruiz, Dodgers prospect. We should know who he is. He's gonna take away Will Smith's playing time, apparently, according to what's his face? Dave Roberts.
No, that's
man.
Austin Barnes. That's Austin Barnes.
I-
Ruiz is in
I
the minors. Ruiz is in the
swear
minors.
I saw a report that if Ruiz gets called up, they will find a way to split time for all three of those guys.
No.
That's what they said. So
No.
Isaac Kiner Falefa, who I forgot who. Oh, that was
And Andrew liked his pick, multi-eligibility.
Yeah, he mentioned
Slated
that.
to be in at shortstop every day. They traded Andrews just so Kiner Falefa could play shortstop.
Miles Straw. So you get him in the 27th round, but it's since you're getting the stolen base potential, it's okay. But when James wanted to get the stolen base potential, you went after him really hard.
Stolen base potential in Leonis Tavares.
It was only like 5 rounds before this. It wasn't that early.
Oh, we got to pull this up. So Felipe stalled for me, so I can just go apeshit over here. So, like I said, Leonis Tavares had a sub 700 OPS in the minors with like a OBP around 320. In the minors, Miles Straw had a 773 OPS, which isn't great. But when you realize that he had a higher on base 394 than his slugging, which that slugging, his slugging was 379. That's not much lower than Leonis Tavares because his wasn't even over 400. And you're talking about a guy who is infinitely better at stealing bases, infinitely getting better at getting on base, and he's in an infinitely better lineup. Like, what?
Well, yeah, he's in an infinitely better lineup where he's not going to be able to play as much. Tavares is
He's the starting
Rangers.
center fielder. He's the starting center fielder for the Astros. Nobody's competing for that job. It's Tucker in right and Brantley in left and him in center.
By the way, Straw with a 25.6 strikeout rate last year. Last year, and Tavares at almost 30%. So the way I see it, they strike out too much. So there you go. They're the same. They're the same player. They're the same player. Nick Senzel, old prospect. I still believe in him. I still want to believe in him. I actually had him in this league a couple years ago. Remember, I drafted both Bo Bichette and Nick Senzel, and Mario Margola came on these airwaves and told me, well, I don't know, Felipe, you might have drafted them too soon. Because there's no guarantee they're going to be called up anytime soon. And that's what happened.
Isn't he he's the never too early guy.
That's exactly what I told him. And he said, yeah, but they might not get called up anyway. So it's kind of a risk there. But if you believe in him, that's fine. And I did. And they got called up.
I swear to God, if I never listen to an episode in which I don't show up and Felipe does an impression of me, or he's already done an impression of me and I haven't heard it, I'm going to be very upset.
That was, I think I did when Henry subbed in for you. So
I got to go rewind and find it now.
I think, but I tried doing it last week, but my southern accent isn't there. Sorry, man. Jarrett Walsh, last pick. I'm surprised Whelan didn't get him, but he goes to Jets team instead. Jet is a Brewers fan. Whelan is the Angels fan. And Mr. Irrelevant, Brandon Belt.
Do people not realize how good Brandon Belt was in 2020?
Yeah, but
he's injured to start the year, which is always a downer
No,
but
I mean,
he was insanely good in 2020.
I know. I had him last year. That's how I finished in first place last year, Sean. Pay attention. So, okay. I wanted to see Whelan's team really quick, and I think this is where we're gonna end it because I'm kind of curious if the draft picks are as bad as I think they are. But I think we did that last year, and then we looked at the after it was all said and done. We looked at the guys' team.
I'm looking at the infield: Freeman, Fletcher, Bohm, Anderson, Turner, Arias. That looks like an infield I would pick. Yeah. Verdugo and Yastrzemski, so yes. Pilar, no.
Okay, catchers. No, I don't like him. Freddie Freeman, well, he kept them, so that's fine. David Fletcher, Alec Bohm. So yeah. I like him a lot. Tim Anderson, I had him in my points league last year, so that's pretty good. Justin Turner, a little bit on the older side, especially with so many good third basemen out there, but that's not too bad. Luis Arias, you just mentioned, he's one of your guys. Alex Verdugo.
I like him. I like Pilar's ass. Yeah.
No.
Pilar's not going to get as much time.
He's going to put Marte in the outfield. Yastrzemski to right, JD Martinez to util.
Will he remember to do that though?
No, probably not. I should just manage his team for him.
Do you see the projected at bats for Pilar this year?
Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening at all.
I think people are sleeping on these young Mets. Like what Nimmo's going to be getting way more plate appearances than Pilar. Out there.
Oops, trying to zoom it in.
It's like the same thing when you look at Jonathan Villar's projections. It's like that's not happening on Fantrax. He's not stealing 32 bases. Fantrax thinks Jonathan Villar is stealing 32 bases, and I'm like, on what planet is that happening?
So if it wasn't, if Whelan didn't think he had enough pesky second baseman, he went out and got Cesar Hernandez as well. So he's like the Noah's Ark of middle infielders.
You know what's gonna make
Anderson Simmons? Oh my God!
You know what's gonna make Whelan competitive? The fact he has Bueller, DeGrom, Lamet, and Hendricks.
Well, hold on, Sean. You're jumping the gun. I'm showing my screen here. I'm still on the hitter side of things. So I'm just pointing out that Andrelton Simmons, also another pesky punch and Judy hitter, and now I feel like I'm in the Noah's Ark of the fantasy baseball world here.
2x2.
Brandon Martin. Oh, he got JD Martinez. So yeah, maybe he has a decent, formidable lineup, but compared to everybody else's, looks
his depth is ass, but his actual starters are pretty good.
Wander Franco, whenever he gets called up, maybe that's a saving grace. Let's go on to the pitchers, like you mentioned. Okay, Bueller, DeGrom, Lamet. So he's resting on his
and
balls.
Hendricks was quit. Put some respect on his name.
Yeah, he's.
Oh my God, you're a Cubs fan, goddammit.
Yeah, when Kyle Hendricks is your ace, come on, Mr. 86 miles an hour.
He's not his ace. He's his SP 3 or 4, and he's a legitimate SP 1.
Kyle Hendricks?
Yes.
No, for the Cubs. No,
for fantasy.
Oh yeah, well, I'm just saying he's the Cubs ace, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. I can't do it. I just if he were I like him a lot more if he was a real baseball team's, not for fantasy purposes, just for a real baseball team's SP4, SP5. He'd be great at that. SP3 at best, but not SP1 for a real team. For fantasy, it just translates over. He's the David Fletcher of starting pitchers. It just
translates over.
Yeah, it translates over. Yeah, he's the David Fletcher of starting pitchers.
Oh God. Lord, give me the strength.
You're just gonna be left wondering where how can I get more strikeouts? So how about not drafting Kyle Hendricks?
Oh, I don't know. Is Jacob DeGrom and Dinelson Lamet? Like what?
Yeah, there's Dinelson Lamet. Hold on, there's Jacob DeGrom, Walker Bueller, and Kyle Hendricks.
That's where he's getting his strikeouts.
Cancels out Hendricks.
Oh no, I want everybody on my team to pitch strikeouts. I want no let up. Come on. Everybody should be getting 9-10 strikeouts per 9 innings on my team.
The only person with a better strikeout to walk ratio than Kyle Hendricks on this team is Jacob DeGrom.
Oh, well, he's in trouble then.
The only person projected to throw more innings pitched than Kyle Hendricks is Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah, so that means more reason for him to mess up somehow. He gets exposed. He gets exposed.
And they still have Hendricks at 158 strikeouts. So I mean, that's not really anything.
I think that's low. Either. I think that's low for him.
I'm laughing at it. So let's see. Hold on. How many innings? 199 innings pitched. So
that's low for him.
7.14 K per 9.
I think he's an 8. I think he's going to be 8. 7.9 to 8.2.
Can I make a request to give my team a draft grade before we
call it here?
Okay, there we go.
You've been requesting that. Okay, hold on. So I'm just okay. Yeah, this is as bad as I thought it was. Okay, so Whelan, get to work.
Stolen from me.
Who are we going?
Confortably first.
All right, let's look at the catchers. Not as good as my catchers. So yeah, you need to fix that. Paul Goldschmidt. Do we like Paul Goldschmidt here, Sean? I forget.
Yeah, he's just boring. He's oatmeal. as they would say on Rates and
I
Barrels.
feel like
He's
I could
oatmeal.
just trust him. I could trust him there is what I like. It's nothing like crazy, but I feel like you could just trust Gold. You know what you're gonna get at this point.
The fact
it's
that
like
you have
safe.
Goldschmidt, Mancini, and Walker, you should never need to pick up another first baseman for the
Yeah.
rest of the year.
By the way, Kyle Hendricks projected by all the projection system at Fangraphs to not barely touch 7.5K per 9 innings. I'll pass. Nick Madrigal, one of your favorites there, Sean. Eugenio
That's my
Suarez. Hey,
dude.
look at James getting two of my guys from my points league. Good job, James. Nick Madrigal and Eugenio Suarez. You mentioned I like Xander Bogaerts, Jurickson Profiles, your middle infielder.
He's only there right now because I had someone else there, but I had to
all
move
right,
him.
all right. Because
based
you
on
promised
injury.
me, James. You promised me you were not going to start these guys. They were just bench pieces. Outfield: Christian Yelich, George Springer, Michael Conforto. James, these guys are actually in my points league team. Look at you. I actually kept those guys: Christian Yelich and Michael Conforto. And I'm a big fan of Joey Gallo, even though Sean thinks he strikes out too much.
I mean, he's paired with with guys like Madrigal who can counter his really bad average, but just getting possible he could hit 40 home runs and no one would bat an eye. You know, it's just having him there is at utility. It's just free home runs.
I'm seeing two issues here.
Well, hold on, Sean. Sean, I just want to point out that you could tell James been listening to the podcast. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, pairing Madrigal with Gallo. I wonder where he picked that up from.
I don't know, man.
We literally talked about it
on the podcast. You're right. On this podcast. Go ahead, Sean.
One, I'm worried about stolen bases on your offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Madrigal could be your best source of stolen bases. I don't see Yelich running. I definitely don't see Springer running. Obviously, we said what I said about Dylan Moore. And then the power. Suarez is a probably bona fide 35 guy. Gallo's a 35 guy.
40 guy for Suarez.
Yeah, I mean,
but my outfield is projected at 150 home runs alone.
Yeah, there's so many boppers, but I could see one or two just kind of bleh. Bogarts is projected by Fantrax for 33. I'm taking the under. Yelich, I'm taking the under of 37. Springer, I don't think will play enough to hit 35.
Not anymore, no.
Yeah, it's
he's only out to April 1st ish. It's not too bad.
That's what they always say about Springer.
They're kind of tricky.
He'll start rehabbing, and then he'll hurt his left leg that he's hurt 7 times.
What is it again? An oblique injury?
This was an oblique,
yeah,
but his left leg. He's had 2 hamstring and 1 quad already in the last 3 or 4 years. But the pitching's good.
Hold on, Sean.
Maybe I'll get the stolen bases from Tavares. He's going to be filling in for Springer.
Yeah, so that's your answer, Sean. I'll tell you what, James. At the very least, you'll be beating Matthew Whelan. So Matthew Whelan. Tom Murphy. We talked about Christian Walker. We talked about 2 stolen base nets. Okay, Dylan Moore, Kyle Seager. So some decent bench guys. I'm not sure if I'm in love, but I love your prospects, by the way. I'm actually jealous that you got Julio Rodriguez. Actually, did you copy my team from my points?
No, I had him from last year. Rodriguez, I picked him up last year.
This is basically my hitting lineup almost. Okay, now we can go to the pitchers. Max Fried, Dustin May, Aaron Nola. I'm not sure about Dustin May, but in this format, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, May is probably going to wind up moving for me. The only reason why he's there right now is because I was moving Syndergaard to the IL, and I just threw the first person I saw in there. I'm going to start looking at this more when the season's getting ready to start. But
okay,
just
closers are a little bit iffy for me. I'm not a big fan of Greg Holland. Forget the projections; those are wrong by Fantrax. But still, there's Sean. We talk about the Royals all the time. They have a lot of guys that if in case
for
Greg
all
Holland
we know,
falters,
like you said earlier, they won't use Staumont. I'll scream at the ceiling. They'll use Greg Holland for nostalgic sake. Mark Melancon will pick up 20 saves by the time Drew Pomeranz comes back. I'll be talking about how wrong I was, which never happens. And then Iglesias will have good saves, and I'll be mad.
Greg Holland at 2.10 strikeout per walk, I would start looking for replacements right now if I were you.
My problem was I didn't really pay much attention. I always felt that relief pitcher it always went a little bit later, but I looked up and they were all gone.
Oh, the
I got Iglesias.
Right here,
it was too late.
For joining us for so long, I will find you a relief pitcher.
In the meantime, Chris Paddock, Zach Plesac, you got nice stuff at your starting rotation. Dallas Keuchel, you're the veteran presence. Sean Manaea, they're basically identical. These guys are Sean Manaea and Justice Sheffield. I guess they're all left-handed. You got nothing but left-handers. Zach Britton's about to be on your IL slot, and if all else fails, you got Matt Manning and Grayson Rodriguez, who may get called up, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But one day, and that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. But anyway, we can't do that for all the teams because otherwise we'll be here all night.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean. You got
add Jake McGee.
I can't believe Jake
drop
McGee's
Greg
still
Holland, add Jake McGee.
No, wait, hold on. Don't do that just yet because Greg Holland is
no, shut up,
closer.
Felipe. James, do not listen to him. Before you sign off this podcast, I swear, go put Jake McGee on your roster.
In my IL first.
I tried to sell Felipe on that. He said no.
No. We gotta wait. Otherwise, we gotta do it for all the teams, and I'm not.
Yeah. I know.
I can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it. No, you know what you should do, James? You should drop. Shit. Who do you drop?
I mean, you could pick up Daniel Bard, but that's a Rockies relief pitcher. That's a risky game.
I like the Jake McGee suggestion. I just don't think you drop Greg Holland just yet. Because he's for what it's worth.
What universe do you actually? He wants Jake McGee. Don't let him fool you. This is pure manipulation.
No. He's nice enough to be on the show. You know, I don't go that way. I tell people I just share my goddamn spreadsheet.
You can go your own way.
But no, maybe drop Jurickson Profile. I don't know. But anyway, that's a good place to stop right there. Sean, James, go ahead and plug your Twitch channel one more time for us, please.
Oh, yes. 1 sec. I'll type it into the comment section.
No, don't type it in. You got to say it for the people
all right,
who are listening to
just
audio only.
You could just go in your browser, just twitch.tv/sly SLY__SSB.
There we go.
And when's the next time you're going to be on the Twitch channel there?
Actually, tomorrow, my Overwatch team has a game. I will be online starting around hopefully 2:30, starting our practice, and I will be online until about 7.
We talking about practice?
Tell me something.
I'm a captain of an esport of our Overwatch team
there we go,
and
there
our
we go.
Smash team.
James, I gotta ask you. I'm not very good at video games. I still play with my GameCube, damn it. But I gotta ask, do you end up picking Mercy?
No.
And oh god. Okay, is that the right reference though?
Yeah, it's Overwatch's Mercy. Yeah.
Hey, all right. That's Felipe trying to be hip. Okay.
Mercy mains are
Don't
meme.
throw out your hip while trying to be hip, Felipe.
Well, you know what, James? I could tell that you do not want to be support, so that's pretty cool of you. So that's James. Sean, any last words from you before we let you go?
It is finished. In the words of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Baseball League Life Draft recap of 2021 is finished.
Yeah, that's back to back nights, days of doing podcasts just to keep up and keep, do this formalities of doing our draft recaps, because I feel like it's important, not just for us selfishly, but also for the baseball group, the Baseball Life Facebook group. I think we owe it to them to at least give an insight as to how these guys, fellow members, are doing on these leagues. And we're already getting some what do you call it? Some support and some enthusiasm. Like, hey, I want to be in this league. If you find out, my list went from like 3 or 4 people on the waiting list.
It keeps us going.
Well, this year this year alone, it's now up to like 20. Just because we keep talking about it, and I'm like, hey, what's this league about? Well, hopefully by doing this, you get a better look at what this league's all about and the rivalries and the inside jokes that happen. So thank you for watching. Be sure to check out all the other podcasts. Be sure to check out all the other episodes because we worked so hard on them. For Sean, James, I am Felipe. We will see you Sunday.